stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Why do so many basement companies want half the money up front? Could it be because it's easier to get than earning all your trust? At the Michaelis Corporation, they don't ask for a deposit until the job is done and you're completely satisfied. They even start with a free inspection to ensure you know exactly what your home needs without the guesswork. With over 35 years experience, they've proven that trust is built on results, not deposits. Michaelis, building trust beneath your feet. Visit michaeliscorp.com.
Trust employee owned. B-Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Heat advisory until late Friday. Sunny, hot, and humid. A spotty afternoon storm. Today's high 93. Feels like temperatures as high as 105. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Time for Kendall and Casey.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Now look.
What?
I'm no expert in international affairs.
Okay.
But one might think if indeed you had some sort of deal that multiple parties who not only hate each other, but want to see the other guy dead, right? If you had some sort of agreement, you might just hold off for a few minutes before you run to social media shouting from the rooftops about it to make sure that everybody's sort of on the same page because, well, then you kind of look like an idiot when you make this big proclamation and an hour later the thing just disintegrates. I'm not an expert. I'm not the president. I'm just, some low-level bird lawyer on the radio. I'm just saying that's how I would handle it if I were the commander-in-chief. I might keep the cards close to my vest before running to the social media.
Okay, so that's called an assumptive close.
It's a what?
An assumptive close.
Okay.
When you're closing the deal on things, you just assume they're going to go along with you and you do the assumptive close. Maybe that's what Donald Trump, the ultimate salesperson, businessman, was doing when he said, "Congratulations, world, it's time for peace." He was doing the assumptive close.
Yeah, and again, this is not... See, and Tony was talking about this morning, and obviously nobody's more passionate about this than Tony and has been for years because it involves Israel. And I thought he made a good point. He said, one of the things Trump struggles with, and I'm paraphrasing here, is that in Trump's world, it all centers around making a deal is all about the financial gain, right? So Trump looks at this fight between Israel and Iran, and it's like, what are you guys doing? You're costing yourself so much money.
Right.
Let's all just come to the table and figure out how we can stop doing this so we can all make a bunch of money. What Trump appears to fail to... I think he's aware of it, but I don't think he recognizes it or understands maybe. I think understands the magnitude of is how religiously fanatical these insane people in Iran are and how much their only desired result is Israel and America dead.
Well, and now it's been ingrained for generations. I mean,
thousands of years.
Right. This isn't, you're going back 40, 50 years now, and it's part of the upbringing.
Well, and so if you're the president and you do get, so if you're just waking up, you're not sure what we're talking about, let me just try to high level do a timeline in this, okay? So last night, Trump comes out and does this big proclamation about there's a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran. I thought it was very weird, and I don't know if unprofessional is the right word, but unpresidential to make that sort of announcement again on Twitter, Truth, whatever.
Well, I don't think you backed up quite far enough. After the U.S. struck Iran, they retaliated. Iran retaliated and struck the base in Qatar.
That's fair. Yes. Okay. So, but it was when they killed. It was similar to when the Americans took out Soleimani, where Iran doesn't really want to fight. They just want to save face in their own country because they know it'll happen. So they alerted Qatar. They alerted Qatar in the U.S. this is going to happen.
This is coming. Donald Trump actually thanked Iran for letting him know.
They shoot the missiles down, whatever. So that way the Iranians can go on state television and go, look at these missiles we launched at the Americans, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't actually want to kill anybody. So you're right. So that happens. Then Trump later in the evening announces this big peace agreement, does it on Twitter. He lays out that there's X amount of hours before everybody begins participating. And I'm reading this going, okay, you can't trust the Iranians as far as you can throw them. You know, Israel's just looking for a reason to do more damage to the Iranians. So whether it comes from Iran itself or the attack comes from proxy organizations, satellite organizations, Hamas at all, you know not everybody's going to abide by this right away. And you've got to make sure you got everybody with their ducks in their own cooperating before you come out with this announcement, because you just look kind of silly within hours or an hour or whatever. Israel claims a rocket was launched at them. They're obviously not taking any crap from anyone. And then they throw a bunch of missiles at the Iranians. Now, whether this came from Hamas, false flag, Iran, don't know. But now Trump's here looking like, hey, they just all played you for fools because everybody's doing the exact opposite of what they claimed they were going to do.
Well, and Trump was saying, all right, Israel, let's hold off. Let's not do anything. And then just about an hour ago, he said that we have two countries that have been fighting so hard that they don't know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing. Israel or Iran wants Israel wiped off the map. Israel is taking zero of Iran's bullcrap. And this is one of the dangers of a seemingly unwavering relationship in the U.S. making the military strike. Because now Israel is emboldened to say, we're going to do what we want, and we know you're going to back us up because you don't have a choice now. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong for us to back them up. I'm not saying that. What I am saying now is you're already, it's similar to the way Putin is not giving Trump what he wants on Ukraine because you've already emasculated and humiliated the Ukraine guy. What are you going to do to me? You've already made your stand, basically. And so Israel, feeling empowered, says, well, they violated the terms of engagement. Now, it's my understanding they don't know exactly where now maybe that is in the past hour because I've been getting ready for the show, been updated where they know exactly where the rocket came from. But it's my understanding they don't even know who actually launched the rocket. But again, it comes back to, from us as Americans and our commander-in-chief, you should not have flapped your gums on this until everybody's in line, everybody's abiding by, everybody publicly says, these are the terms, we understand, we agree, ceasefire now in effect, okay, now you say this. But it's not only saying it's a ceasefire, it's this big proclamation about peace and this and that. No, that's not how this operates. It's never going to operate like this. This is what we said when the U.S. launched the attack the other day. Iran is never going to willingly capitulate. They're never willingly going to give up. They're never willingly going to stop attacking the Israelis because it is not about something you can negotiate. It is hatred at the core of their soul, the fiber of their being. The basis of their existence on this earth is to hate and try to kill these people. And why Trump doesn't seem to get that, I don't know, because he's a really smart guy, and maybe he's just so blinded by I can always make a deal on anything that he doesn't understand you can't make a deal with these people. It's got to be seek, kill, destroy if you want them to stop.
Well, he's been saying all along they're not about leadership change. That's up to the Iranian people, and J.D. Vance echoed that same message.
Well, I think what the president is saying very clearly, Brett, is if the Iranian people want to do something about their own leadership, that's up to the Iranian people. What the American national security interest here is very simple. It's to destroy the nuclear program. That's what we've done. And now that the 12-day war appears to be effectively over, we have an opportunity, I think, to restart a real peace process. And Brett, this is not just about two countries, Iran and Israel. All of these Gulf Arab states, they want peace. They want to invest. They want to build artificial intelligence hardware. They want to sort of come into the new economy. And that was impossible when you had Iran that was, as the president said, acting like a bully across the Middle East. We really think that if the Iranians are smart about the path forward, this could be a new dawn of an economic age of prosperity, of course, for our Gulf Arab allies, for us, for the Israelis, for everybody. But it's going to require the Iranians play it smart from here.
Yeah, I've got some problems with that. Do we have just a moment to indulge me?
Sure.
Okay, first of all, clearly there is not a peace deal based on the fact that they're still blowing stuff up. Okay, so that he looks silly saying that because the war is clearly not over. That's my point on Trump coming out with a big proclamation, and then Vance obviously has to parrot. That's his job as the vice president, whatever Trump says. And I don't think the Gulf states, many of them do want to move forward. I think many of them are still run by strong men, plural. Now, someone like Saudi Arabia, yes, to some extent, obviously, they do like money. They do like Western culture, et cetera. But there are many of these Arab states that are still not, they don't care. They care about the tippy-top people. It's just Saddam Hussein with a different name, right? I mean, it's as long as they are in power and the tippy-top guys stay rich and their power is protected, that's what they care about. It's fine. You can use Iran as a boogeyman if you want. They're really bad actors. They do need to be taken care of in some capacity, but I think that's a rather disingenuous statement there to act like, oh, all these people in the Middle East want peace and they want to get along and they want to move forward, and it's just these bad Iranians that are making it hard on everyone. That's not true at all.
So J.D. Vance went on to say that today is a new day and it's the end of the 12-day war. They're already branding it.
But it's not the end of it.
Right.
They're still doing it. So you look silly. That's my point.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Life moves fast.
We move fast.
Get moving fast.
It's not business as usual.
So does the news.
I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane.
Decisions made today.
The United States and China announcing a 90-day pause.
Could impact you tomorrow.
Goldman Sachs adjusting its 2025 economic outlook.
The issues, some solutions.
What's next?
I'll let you know at the appropriate time.
Got to stay tuned.
We're already tracking it.
Strong borders.
Stay in the know while you're on the go on 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. You can say goodbye to cracked, stained, and dirty old floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out the color. Upgrade your home today by calling Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. And they come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. The phone number, 877-417-0635. You can find them online, too. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? Well, summer's finally here, and it's time to take advantage of Zerorez's best deal of the summer. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129. Take $75 off air duct cleaning, too, when you mention WIBC. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and Zerorez can handle every surface in your home and business. The carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, air ducts. Now think about everything left behind on and in your floors. Dirt, dust, allergens, pet dander. It's time to get Zero Resified. Zero Res uses their platinum-rated cleaning system that safely and effectively removes all the deeply embedded nasty dirt, dander, and bacteria. Better yet, it's safe for people, pets, and the planet. Zero Res cleans with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, and gives you fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. So don't wait. Just call and book the Zero Res Pros today. 317-388-5141. Online at ZeroResIndy.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
Good news, Casey.
What's that, Rob?
There are signs of life from the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
Yeah? We heard back, huh?
We finally did hear back.
Nice.
So, sort of.
It only took 10 days.
I mean, like I say, signs of life. Sort of. Like a smoke signal. Not like a message of any clarity, but there was a smoke signal.
Not like receipts or a check to repay the trip to India from Diego Morales.
We don't have any of that yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so and we always reset this, I know, but we have new. Have you seen our ratings?
Yeah. We're number one.
We have new listeners all the time, so we'll very quickly reset.
Yeah.
The Indiana Secretary of State, Diego Morales, was involved in a mysterious trip to India, funded by some person he will not divulge.
Right.
We do know that a venture capital person went on that trip, which is super weird. A guy who has an $80,000 contract with his office went on that trip, but they won't tell us what he does other than he's in business services.
He checks on the businesses.
Yeah, and I guess he just goes and asks if they're okay.
You guys okay?
So you as a taxpayer pay $80,000 for that. The same guy then brags about selling access to visas while in India. And then the Secretary of State refused to say who paid for the trip because he equates himself to Elon Musk and believes he's so popular and famous that in a Republican supermajority state, if someone found out they were supporting a Republican, that you, the audience, would protest en masse like Tesla.
Right.
That was his excuse. So we said, okay, that's really weird. Then he came out because there was such an outcry around the state, and he claimed, well, I paid the money back.
Right.
And so then we said, cool, can you show us some proof, like anything that would be verifiable, like a deposited check, cashed check, a bank transfer with the receipts that match up to what the amount of the money you gave back was.
We
don't even need the guy's name. Just show us receipts that match up to the amount of money.
On the money order?
Money order, whatever it is, right? You choose however the money was returned. And I think everybody will just kind of go away. So then he wouldn't do that. So then at the Clay County Lincoln Day dinner, I had a very spirited conversation with the Secretary of State. His arms were flailing. He had the dry mouth. He was doing all the signs someone who really doesn't want to have this conversation would do. And then he bizarrely challenged me to show him my paycheck.
Right.
And I said, is this real life? Me, a private citizen, not the same as you, the public servant who claims you're on an official event. And he kept challenging me and finally said, okay, so you're telling me if I show you my paycheck.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
My private sector paycheck. You'll show me proof that you did the thing that you told everybody you did related to your public sector job.
Correct.
So he said yes.
Right.
And then I think it dawned on him, oh, crap.
He's going to do this.
He just called my bluff. And he will absolutely do this because he don't care. And he laughs about how little money he makes all the so it's
so
no big
you
deal.
reached out to his communications director.
That's correct. As I told Diego I was going to do. Now, that was Friday, a week ago. So it's been a week and a half. I told Diego I was going to do that. It was a week ago yesterday that we had reached out to the communications director. She said, I've received your email. I said, look, you and I need to, unless Diego wants to negotiate this directly, terms on how this is going to work.
He's pretty busy running around visiting all the counties.
Well, he's very busy using his $90,000 taxpayer car to go to all these counties to do who knows what. I don't know. But I said, you and I will negotiate this. We'll go back and forth. You want to see whatever. I want to see whatever. We'll figure this out. We'll come to an agreement. We'll all do this, and then we'll all go home happy, right? So then we didn't hear back for a week. We commented yesterday, maybe we got to walk over there and drop off a request. And then I basically got the equivalent of a "Hey You Up" email, right? I mean, you've seen these emails. That was the government equivalent of "Hey You Up," right?
It was. It was kind of like that.
Now, like this came from an official state email account, so I don't think I'm violating any trust or sources by reading the emails.
Are you going to read the email?
Well, I think I should, right?
It won't take very long.
No. Hi, Rob. Wanted to reach out and see if you were available this afternoon.
That was sent at 12:47.
Yes.
And okay.
I responded very politely that I was. Oh, I'll just read you my response. It's all right here, right?
Sure.
And I don't think we're breaking any trust. Like, these are official government channels we're communicating with, right? You could public records request this right now if you wanted to, and you could see this for yourself.
I dare somebody to do that.
That would be great. You should totally.
Public records request any conversations with Rob Kendall
and Lindsay Eaton. That's her name. I said I am available to chat this afternoon. Yes, please let me know when would be a good time and the number to reach you on. Thanks. Like, that's pretty direct, right? Like, I don't know how it could be any more accommodating.
Yeah.
Than
I'm available
to that very vague email. Then the follow-up email. Are you available to meet this afternoon?
She wanted to meet you in person. She didn't want to chat over the phone.
And then I responded, I'm available to talk over the phone this afternoon. I thought I made that very clear in the first email.
Right.
Is this meeting about Diego's offer to show me proof of his repayment for the India trip with receipts or something else? As I'd expressed to Diego, because he was unclear on exactly what he was willing to share, I would get with you, determine if we could come to an agreement on moving forward. Thanks. And then no response.
Right.
So that's where we're at right now.
Okay. So maybe you'll hear from her today.
I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, we're saying this out loud.
Yeah.
This is our Secretary of State. This is probably, let's see, he is probably, because Micah has no power, he gave it all away. We'll get to that later on in the program. Diego Morales may actually be the second most powerful man in the state of Indiana because of all the things that he oversees. Businesses, elections, next to the governor. He is the administrator of all these things. Diego Morales may be the second most powerful man in the state of Indiana.
More so than the comptroller or the treasurer, you think? They control the money.
Yeah, but he could put you out of business theoretically. I mean, he could make a movement for it. He also oversees securities, right?
And elections.
Right, yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things the Secretary of State oversees. This is the second. Let's say he's the third.
And trips to India. He oversees those.
Let's just say he's the fourth most powerful. Does it even matter? Let's just put him behind Rokita and say he's third.
You know what? You don't say he's second, because his ego will love that. In his mind, he's the first.
We have the second or third or fourth most powerful person in our state disappearing to a foreign country, won't tell you who paid for the trip, won't tell you what he did there. Then, of his own volition, nobody forces him to, goes, I paid the money back. And everybody's like, okay, great. Can you just show us proof you paid the money back? No. Then some, what am I? I'm not a reporter. I'm a broadcaster.
You're a pundit.
Some broadcaster has to say, how can I get you to be the least bit transparent and just do the thing you told the public you did?
Show us the receipts.
Well, I'll do it if you show me your paycheck.
Okay.
And the General Assembly, the people down the street from us, the lawmakers, they just act like this is normal behavior. All we want, and I can't be any more specific.
Was he trying to be funny?
No, I think he was panicking.
Like he thought that would stop you in your tracks.
Because I don't think Diego's very bright. I'm not trying to be mean when I say this. I think Diego's incredibly charismatic. I think he's a phenomenal campaigner. Clearly, enough people bought his bull crap. I mean, we saw through it 3 years ago, right? But enough people, I mean, he's a phenomenal campaigner. He's very hardworking when whatever the thing is benefits him. If whatever the thing is benefits him, he's very
not
hardworking.
hardworking when it comes to showing up to a budget meeting.
No, because that didn't benefit him. But the campaign benefited him. He's incredibly charismatic. And if you're not aware, if you don't see through it, he will totally wow you with his charm and charisma.
ABC always be closing, right?
But I don't think he's very bright. And what I mean by that is I don't think he has thought this through, right? Like, what? That was going to be some gotcha? We brag about how little money I make here all the time. We work in radio. That is no problem for me to show you how little money I make. Also, private sector person, not a public sector person. But the average person hears this and goes, you said you paid the money back to some mysterious entity that you won't tell us what it is. If everybody's willing to say, just prove us that you paid the money back and show receipts and we all go home, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
You don't have to tell us who it was. You black the name out. Just show the receipts. Here's the hotels. Here's the flights. Here's the money that corresponds to that. Thank you. We're done.
That's
all we want.
When you were having the conversation with him, didn't he say, "Why would I lie?"
Yes, he's very honest, and he's also a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
That was his defense.
Right. Why would I lie? Okay.
Right.
Prove
We're
it.
not asking for any gotchas. We're not anything for special. We're not nothing. You said you paid the money back. Just show us the proof. Show us the receipts that match, like you would with any business. You're in charge of businesses for the state of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you go on a business trip,
right,
you give the
Turn in your
boss
receipts.
the receipts. Here's the amount of money
And
I
you get
paid.
reimbursed for it.
Please give me this money back.
Mm-hmm.
You're in charge of businesses. We're just asking you to act like the businesses that you're in charge of.
Sure.
That's it. That's
okay,
it.
so his communications person reached out to you and
That's
said,
right.
"Hey, can you sprint over here right now?" And you were obviously
not there
in the middle of something else.
That's right.
Because you have a life.
That's right.
But you were like, "No, but we can talk on the phone."
Yeah. Yeah, I would totally talk to her on the phone. You know, we have to, and again, so I know we get into the news. Jarrett Lewis is ready to just drive through that plate of glass and strangle us if we don't let him get to the award-winning newscast. Here's all we want, okay? Like, I can't be any more specific about this. We want proof that the money was paid back, which there are ways to do that, right?
Yeah.
And we want receipts.
To make sure that the money paid back matches up to what
we want
was
to know what
spent.
you paid for. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's all we want.
Easy peasy. And in exchange, you'll show him your paycheck.
My very small paycheck. My very tiny paycheck.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Coming up next, Jacob Stewart will be joining us from Indy Star.
You ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes based out of Greenfield. See one of their model homes in person anytime. It is a great way for you to experience the customization and quality of a Joyner Homes custom built home. Plus, you can meet with a new home specialist to learn about their building process. Available lots if you don't already have one. Find out about floor plans and where they build. Model homes are open 7 days a week from noon to 5 and walk-ins are welcome. Find out more at joynerhomes.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
President Trump showing his displeasure. It's sunny, 84 in downtown Indianapolis. Your high today is 94. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:32. President Trump is working to keep a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran in place.
Ahead of his flight to a NATO summit in the Netherlands, President Trump expressed his frustration at violations of a U.S.-brokered ceasefire by both Israel and Iran.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.
While the president said he wasn't happy with Iran, he told reporters he was really unhappy with Israel, sending warplanes towards Iran in response to a single rocket launch. Later on social media, President Trump wrote Israel will not attack Iran and all planes will turn around and head home.
Fox's Jared Halpern reporting. Republicans on Capitol Hill are setting a July 4th deadline to pass President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. The bill currently sits in the Senate but could face an uphill battle. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Fox and Friends.
The July 4th deadline is an important one. The president is insistent about it. I have been from the very beginning, and I think we can get this job done. I remain very optimistic that we will.
The measure is set to go back to the House if the Senate passes it, as it will likely contain some changes. Both chambers must agree on the legislation before it heads back to President Trump. And now your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is up 326 points to 42,581. The S&P 500 also in the green, 46 points to 6,025. As for the NASDAQ, it's up 226 points, 21,856. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling. A familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling. A familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is on now. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Casey, great news.
Yeah, what's that, Rob?
It's not just us that thinks the Republicans on the Indy City Council are a bunch of squishes, and they need to step up, man up, and call for Joe Hogshead's resignation.
Yeah, why won't Republicans call on Joe Hogshead to resign? That's the question, right?
Yeah, we got a new friend at the Indy Star with a fabulous new piece saying just that. His name is Jacob Stewart. He's the new deputy opinion editor and columnist at the Indy Star. He joins us now. Jacob Stewart, hello.
How's it going, Rob? Glad to be here.
So we love that you're at the Star now. Before we get into this column you've got about the city council Republicans, because you worked in the Indiana Senate on the Republican side. The Star has hired a Republican.
That's right. I worked for the Senate Republicans as a press secretary for a couple years there. Learned a lot, but media was always my first love, so I came back.
Yeah, you'll be much happier in media than politics.
Yeah.
You'll find that.
I want to ask you something about that before we get on to the actual article. So there's a report out that says only 1 out of every 10 people in a newsroom is Republican. Do you feel that? Is that interesting for you to work in a situation like that?
Well, I imagined that would be the case, but everyone at the Indy Star has been super friendly and glad that I'm there, so I'm very thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, no one's poisoned his food yet.
Right, I was going to say, it's like, what,
him.
your third week there?
Yeah.
We'll have him back, and he may have a different opinion. You never know.
All right, so you got a new piece out saying the same thing we've been saying over at the Indy Star, that this is ridiculous that these Republicans, other than Josh Bain, are not speaking up, not calling for the resignation of Joe Hogshead.
That's right. This scandal has been making headlines for months now. So like many other people that I've talked to, I just had the question, why haven't the Republicans called on Hogsett to resign? I mean, I worked in PR, and I didn't learn a lot, but what I did learn is that if your political enemy does something bad, that you're going to want to call him out on it. So I texted them. I asked them the question, why haven't you called on him to resign? Michael Paul Hart was the only one to talk to me on the record.
That's crazy. Like, on the record, only one of the 5 would talk to you.
That's right. And it makes sense. He's a minority leader, so if he didn't want to talk to me, that would have been unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, he said that he just didn't want to get political and didn't want to focus on anything that he couldn't necessarily control. Which, I've always thought
that's such a weird quote, isn't it? Like, you are political.
Right.
That's what you do. You're in politics.
Right. And, this is a moral issue, too. Not to mention, Democrats and Republicans have, shown this is an issue endemic in their party. So I think it's really local leaders have an obligation to call it out. And not to mention, like, the Republicans on the council are a super minority. So they don't really have significant control over anything. So a lot of what they do is just symbolically expressing the discontent of the 240,000 or so of their constituents, which centers on Joe Hogsett. So it made no sense why they wouldn't call him out.
Jacob Stewart is our guest. He's a new columnist over at IndyStar, has a fabulous new piece. Why won't Republicans call on Joe Hogsett to resign? So, yeah, like these quotes, and I'm sure you're aware, we've been having a little fun back and forth with Michael Paul Hart on the social media and the emails. He's coming in, by the way. Let's give him credit. He's coming in July the 2nd, so he will be with us. The quotes are very weird, though. Like, I'm going to read one of these quotes that he gave to you, because to me, it's as though you can't, and I think you even said this in your column, you can like walk and chew gum at the same time. Let's see here. Very good. I try to remind folks all the time there's 240,000 people that the 6 of us Republicans represent, and I would certainly not want them to be disenfranchised. But I would hope the mayor wouldn't punish the people of our districts for something of that nature. Basically, he's saying the mayor is so evil and the governance in the city is so evil that if we call for a resignation that has gotten standing ovations, Hogsett's behavior is so bad that what they would withhold road repairs. Like, is that his angle? I don't think anybody believes that.
Yeah, we already aren't getting that funding for road repairs, so I don't know what else could change. I've had to pay $1,000 in car repairs because of hitting a pothole. So I don't really think that's a legitimate answer.
You said that the Republicans have the super minority and they can't enact change, but that would also mean that they have nothing to lose then.
You would think, sometimes, and some other council members suggested to me that and I think this is really the case in a lot of political bodies, the super minority gets some sort of symbolic credit or power that's kind of transferred to them solely by the willingness of the Democratic majority or the majority in the body. And that may be the case. Maybe they're afraid of losing that. But you can't really tell.
You also went to the top dog in this state and had a conversation with Governor Braun about this. What did he have to say?
So I actually watched on WIBC, actually.
He stole it from us.
Yeah.
Plagiarism is the greatest form of flattery. When Braun was on with Hammer and Nigel.
Good job, Nigel.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
it's the first contribution Nigel's made to this radio station in months, so good job. Go ahead.
So I just thought it was crazy. I was working on this column already, and Governor Braun says almost the same thing Michael Paul Hart does. I don't know why he decided to, make that same connection of I'm more concerned about the roads. Like I said, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. I don't know why people are so afraid to call Hogsett out by name.
Jacob Stewart is our guest, new columnist at the IndyStar, new piece out on the lack of calling for resignation by the city council Republicans. So our guy, Jesse Brown. Now, our deal with Brown is I feel like Brown and I are like the Spider-Man meme where people are pointing at each other like we're the same guy but the opposite side of the aisle. Now, we think Brown is crazy, but we like Brown because he's the only honest one up there. He'll always say exactly what he thinks, and he'll tell you. And I think he shot pretty straight with you. He said calling on Hogsett to resign could cause personal financial hardship to people. And what he's talking about is, and we laid this out, guys like Michael Paul Hart work for a company that have a mega contract with the city. Paul Anee is the director of the fairgrounds. That they get funding from the city. It appears that these people who won't call on Hogsett to resign, many of them have, for lack of it, could be financially incentivized to keep their mouths shut.
Right, yeah, and I looked into that as well, and I came to the conclusion, even if that's not the case, even if they aren't motivated by, these city contracts, it's just a recipe for disaster and for people to lose trust in their local officials.
If you had an advice to these guys, so the 5 other than Bain, how would you tell them to handle this? What would you be doing if you were in their position?
Well, quite frankly, I would just say you need to call on Hogsett to resign. This doesn't have to be as political as you want to make it. If you have a moral backbone, you can call on him to resign as a call for greater standards for all politicians.
So we've talked a lot about why they won't do it. What is the upside of calling for his resignation?
Well, like I said, it shows people that they have a moral backbone and a moral compass, and that they care about, political employees and their constituents. A lot of people don't trust their government these days, and this is making it worse by them not calling on him to resign. So if they do, it may take a lot of work, but eventually they might win some trust back in their constituents.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, you had another column that we won't go into detail on, but I thought it was great. You were talking about the danger of these solar farms and going on the farm ground, and this is a huge issue right now. Just very briefly tell us about that, because I think this is a mega issue for a lot of people, not just in central Indiana, but across the state, as they see these farm grounds starting to get gobbled up.
Yeah, for sure. I myself have solar on my roof. I have no problem with solar energy as a form of energy production. But the fact of the matter is these large solar farms depend almost entirely on government subsidies to exist. And if we're going to subsidize somebody, it should not be these large organizations, a lot of times coming from out of state to build these farms on our prime farmland. So I think that's just a significant issue, and it's a poor investment on the state's part.
We got a guy at IndyStar now. This is great.
Can you believe that?
We got a guy.
It's been years.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Don't blow it. Jacob Stewart, thank you. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The latest on the U.S. and Iran. Plus, former Letterman writer Jeff Boggs joins us in studio, 93 WIBC.
When you golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy world-class dining and distilleries, shops, spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com. Downtown Indy's Fourth Fest, presented by UA Local 440 on the Indiana War Memorial Grounds, kicks off with a street party featuring live music, a kids zone, great local food, and more 6 to 10 p.m. Then fireworks with an amazing grand finale thanks to the Indiana Fever and WNBA All-Star Committee.
The street party is brought to you by Indiana Donor Network and Donate Life Indiana. One organ and tissue donor can save 8 lives and heal 75 more. Sign up at donatelifeindiana.org and talk to your family about your decision.
For more info, go to downtownindy.org.
PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse is now open and ready to serve you. Whether you're buying jewelry or selling jewelry, PA Jewelers has got you covered. One-of-a-kind pieces, vintage pieces. Make an appointment, sit down with them in the buy room, and find out how you can get that special piece made just for you. Easy to get to in Brownsburg. See everything they have to offer in a no-pressure environment. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse, now open in Brownsburg. 317-456-4010. That's 456-4010. Or online at pajewelers.jewelry. pajewelers.jewelry.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024
Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
Busy day? No problem. The WIBC Mashup podcast catches you up with standout moments from your favorite shows. Fresh episodes every weekday. One click, all the good stuff. Get your daily fix. Search WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts.
So this is a super concerning statistic.
Yeah?
You said there's new data out that says over 566,000 people in this state are speaking a primary language other than English.
At home, correct.
So that, I did the math, that's about 8%. So that comes out to roughly 1 in every 12 people in the state is speaking a language other than English in their home.
Correct. Their primary language is not English.
And this dovetails into, and I've said this many times, if you go to your local Walmart and you look at your local Walmart and how it looks markedly different than it did 10 years ago. I was thinking this last night, like the workers that are there, I'm hearing them communicate. Some of them don't speak English or aren't speaking English to each other. The ones that are with very thick accents. And you're looking at this and you're realizing that it ties back to these foreign workers coming into this country and this visa program and the things that Stephen Whitmer and the Indy Reporter laid out last week about how Hoosiers are being replaced. And these people are not immigrating this country and assimilating. They're immigrating this country and they're bringing their customs with them, and they're making America more like or Indiana in this case, more like where they came from rather than adapting into the place that they have decided to move.
So you've got 566,800 Indiana residents speaking a language other than English at home, making this a multilingual population. You're a smart guy, Rob. I'm sure you can guess what the top language is outside of English.
I would say Spanish.
You're correct. Spanish speakers, 295,400 residents speak Spanish. That makes it the most dominant non-English language in the state. So you did the math on that, 295,400.
It's roughly 4% of our state is speaking Spanish in their home. The part of being an immigrant coming to this country is assimilating.
Yeah.
And we are a country, at least we are still for now, it's getting less and less by the day, that English is our language. That is our language. And when you look at people's lack of assimilation, and again, that stuff Stephen Whitmer laid out last week about the amount of people who are coming into this country and coming into this state from foreign countries, from foreign-based businesses, and I think the real stab in the stomach is that you're funding it as a taxpayer. They're taking money from you. They're giving it away in incentives to these foreign companies who are then bringing these workers in and are not becoming a part of our culture. They're trying to change the culture.
The third top language outside of English and Spanish is German, 26,930 people, and then Chinese, 18,410 people speak that primarily at home.
All right, let's take a break. from one depressing piece of news to another, but we got to talk about this because we finally were able to digest this. It came out when we were on the air yesterday. Mike Braun has done this complete board overhaul at the IDC, and boy, howdy,
new appointments.
There are some people on there, and this is super interesting. Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss, right?
All right. We'll get into it coming up. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Trump country is booming. We're building, hiring, and winning in Indiana because energy tax credits put America first, bringing manufacturing jobs home and creating a stronger middle class.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country. More production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers.
And America's comeback depends on American energy. Senator Young, keep what works. Don't repeal energy tax credits. Paid for by Built for America.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say for my students.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. Being from Oklahoma, I know a thing or two about natural disasters. Tornadoes are common where I'm from and have affected my life and the lives of people I care about. No matter where you live, be aware of the dangers in your area and have a plan. You can create an emergency kit, come up with an evacuation plan, and know where to seek shelter. You never know when a disaster may hit. These simple steps can help save a life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, how long we can see these high temperatures across the state of Indiana, what Tyrese Halliburton had to say after having his surgery last night, the charges against a non-former Ben Davis track coach, and what Indiana's major public colleges and universities are agreeing to this week. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
The ceasefire is in effect. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump posted that on Truth Social after a few hours of frustration, especially with Israel.
So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either.
Telling reporters before taking off for the NATO summit this morning, both had violated the ceasefire right after the agreement took effect.
These guys got to calm down.
President Trump demanded Israeli warplanes return home and not continue striking Iran after Israel said Iran fired missiles into its cities hours after a ceasefire took hold. Displaying his frustration, the president used an expletive, saying the two countries have been fighting so long they don't know what to do.
Well, that's Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Now on Air Force One, the president called Israel's prime minister and then posted on Truth Social Israel's planes will turn around and not attack Iran, which also launched missiles right before the ceasefire took effect. One hit a building in Beersheba, killing a family of 4 Israelis. The president also talked to reporters on the flight to the NATO summit in the Netherlands, where the Ukraine issue and war will be a topic, and he referenced Russian President Putin.
Vladimir called me up. He said, "Can I help you with Iran?" I said, "No, I don't need help with Iran. I need help with you." And I hope we're going to be getting a deal done with Russia. It's a shame. 6,000 soldiers died last week.
He might meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky during that NATO summit. Later today, the House and then the Senate will get classified briefings on the U.S. airstrikes against Iran.
It comes as Democrats like House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have criticized the Trump administration, saying top congressional leaders and Intelligence Committee members have not been briefed.
It's not optional, Donald. It's not.
A majority of Republicans are defending the strike, arguing it set Iran's nuclear capabilities back decades.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz at the House this hour. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will testify hours after the president, who keeps demanding big interest rate cuts, called Powell very dumb and hard-headed. But the Fed chair plans to tell lawmakers they can continue to wait and see on the economy before cutting rates. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The extreme heat hanging around. Sunny, 84 on Monument Circle. The high today, 94. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Today's weather outlook, according to Casey Fuson with the National Weather Service.
Today we are again expecting highs in the 90s for Indianapolis. We're expecting highs between 93 to 94 for this afternoon, and that humidity and heat indices over 100.
A heat advisory will last much of the week. Tyrese Halliburton making it through a successful surgery on his torn Achilles Monday, having the procedure done in New York. He now begins a long road to recovery, which will likely last 8 to 12 months. He made a post to social media last night saying he has no regrets and will work to come back better than ever. Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle hoping to remember how special this season's team was despite their loss to OKC in the finals.
You don't author comebacks like this team did really over the course of the entire season without just an indomitable competitive spirit to fight together. And that's what they were, and that's what they did.
Meanwhile, the NBA draft is happening tomorrow night. The Pacers do not have a first-round pick. Also, the Indiana Fever are in action tonight. They're in Seattle to battle the Storm. Tip-off is set for 10 o'clock Eastern. A now former Ben Davis track coach is arrested and charged with seducing a 16-year-old student. Deputies on Monday took into custody 26-year-old Harrison Goss. He faces 5 counts of child seduction, including one that claims he engaged in sexual intercourse with the girl, who was also a member of the school's track team. Online court records say Goss is being held without bond until his initial hearing, which is scheduled for tomorrow morning. And all 15 of Indiana's public colleges and universities are agreeing to a tuition freeze. Governor Mike Braun announced the move today. All in-state undergraduate students for the 2025-26 and 2026-27 academic years will see their tuition stand still. This marks the first time since at least 2010 that all campuses have simultaneously committed to a tuition freeze. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall Casey back in 1 minute.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
When you have a broken system, when you have a broken company, you gotta change the whole thing. Just the players on the field ain't gonna make any difference.
No.
And I think that's what's going on with the IEDC. It's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob Casey's here. So this is actually pretty important. I'll try not to make it like super minutia, but it's actually really important because a lot of what's going on in our state that is not good has kind of grown out of the Indian Economic Development Corporation and the way, at least the way we're doing business. And I think this is the best example you can give of what is becoming a systemic problem in our state, which is how we are attracting companies, who we are attracting, and the impact it's having, not just on your pocketbook as a taxpayer, but the landscape and the climate in which we all live.
Right. So Governor Mike Braun, he replaced the members of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and he announced 9 new appointees.
So I know most of our audience is aware, but again, have you seen our ratings? Lots of new listeners. So, and we thank you, all of you, wherever you're listening from. So I'll just do a very high-level explanation here before we dive into this. So the Indiana Economic Development Corporation was put into effect under Mitch Daniels when Mitch Daniels was governor. And it was a very small government entity that was designed to act as a concierge of sorts for businesses that were considering locating to Indiana. Hey, I'm looking at 3 other states. What can Indiana do for me? Okay, hey, here's the menu of things we have available with our economic development packages. Let us know how we can put you in touch with the right people. Let's try to make that happen.
Yeah.
And then over time, like any other well-meaning government entity, which I think under Mitch Daniels, it was quasi-okay. It's a quasi-government entity, right? Like it was quasi-okay. But like any other entity, it just grows faster than it can keep up with, right? And by the time we got to Eric Holcomb, it is dissolved, I guess would be the right. They would say evolved. We would say dissolved. And based on the fact that Braun basically booted everybody out of there, I think I'm the winner in terms of the terminology of this thing that was very small in scope and practice to now we're doing real estate deals. Now we're getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the General Assembly. Now we're giving money away to people. Now all of these things without you being able to easily know because they hid behind this quasi-government entity shield. And this is how your government actually lies to you and your lawmakers lie to you and everything else. Because what did we hear throughout the entire Holcomb administration? Hey, level up, next level, a state that works. This is great. Lawmakers are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at this company. Or this organization. And yet, Braun's first 6 months in office, he has not only essentially, I don't know, fired is the right word, booted out. We'll use a more
Thank
pleasant.
them for their service.
We'll use a more pleasant word. He's exchanged members of the board.
Uninvited them.
And has felt something is so strongly amiss or afoot or whatever that he's ordered a forensic audit. Of the organization. Now, my question to Mr. Braun would be, if you don't know the results of the forensic audit, why would you get rid of everyone?
I think part of that is because he is appointing people to the board that he knows who they are, he knows their history, and he knows he can work with them.
So let's talk about that for a second, because you're right. And anybody who thinks that Mike Braun is going to do anything tangibly different with IEDC, you're dreaming, because the money controls the entire state. The money in the power structure controls all the lawmakers. It controls Braun. It controls your statewides. They're not, their goal will be to make you think that they're doing something different. Their goal will be to make you think, oh, look at all these changes Braun has made. But the reality is they can't. They're too deep down the rabbit hole on this thing, and there's too much money, there's too much power, there's too much control over these lawmakers to make noticeable changes. So he gets rid of all of these people in the IEDC and brings 9 new people in, which is an admission that people like us were right, that this entity is complete garbage. It is totally not working for you as a taxpayer. You don't fire. If you're the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, if you're the Irsay daughters, and Shane Steichen and the team goes out there this year and they make the playoffs and they have a run, you're not firing all the coaches, right? That's what essentially happened here.
Right.
All the coaches got the boot. We got a new coaching staff in there, new general manager, new leadership. Rick Carlisle is not going anywhere with the Pacers, right? Fabulous year. You're linking him to an extension or whatever. They're admitting we were right. All the horrible things that were said about us, we're like, why are our lawmakers giving hundreds of millions of dollars to this organization that is clearly not acting at the very best in an above-board, transparent manner? Oh, shock jocks looking for ratings, blah, blah, blah. Braun just admitted we were right.
Yeah.
He got rid of the whole team. And now let's talk about the team he's put in place, because this is important, right? Of this list of people, by the way, some of these names that stand out, we talked about this yesterday, John Gregg, Democrat, ran for governor twice and lost twice, was the Speaker of the House in the 90s when Indiana was on really bad footing. That's why Mitch Daniels became a thing, did a horrible job of running the state. He's on this list. You've got this David Fagan, International Union of Operating Engineers. Does that sound like somebody that's going to be in it for you as the taxpayer? But what's interesting on this list of people, and most of them are these traditional, very connected, very powerful business people, there's no advocate for you. The major problem with the IDC is not the board. The board, it's like for years and years and years, the Colts were awful. Why? Because Bob Irsay was the owner. He was a dumpster fire. He totally couldn't keep management on anything. And the organization as a whole was a train wreck. It wouldn't have mattered who the coach was. The ownership was a disaster. Now, when Jim Irsay early on in his ownership became owner, he turned it over to Bill Polian, and you had a long history of success. And I will argue that the success got sideways when Jim Irsay got more involved. The more involved the Irsays got in their team, whether it was the old man or the son, the worse things got.
They would have just been hands off.
You can't. The system itself is broken. And if we're admitting, which we are, based on the fact that we fired the entire coaching staff, and if we're admitting because we have this forensic audit, we're so concerned we have to have this forensic audit, you have to reform the system itself, and the reformation of the system itself has to be a 180 on transparency to the taxpayers. There's no person on this list who you would say, wow, they have a great track record of being a watchdog, of being bold for the taxpayers, of speaking out, of calling out public corruption, of taking hard stands. There's none of these people. They're just mostly just private sector business people or lobbyists or whatever.
Yeah.
And unless you're willing to be transparent with the taxpayer and have somebody on there who's not doesn't need something. All of these people, they're business people, right? For the most part, they other than one guy who we'll get to here in a second, but they make money off of a system in some shape, form, or fashion. There's something they're going to want. There's going to be something of interest to them. I'm not interested in people who have interests in related fields or expertise in related fields. I'm interested in people that are accountable to me, the taxpayer. And that starts with letting me know what's going on with my money.
Yeah, so the new board members, they come from entrepreneurship, construction, ag, healthcare, labor, finance. But you're right, there's nobody on this list that would be a constituent representative.
Right. So it's going to be the same system in which it's hard or impossible to get information. It's going to be the same type of board members who are beholden to the governor. They're not beholden to you, the taxpayer. And So why would you think that you're going to get much of a different result unless, you got to blow out everybody, right? You got to blow out the general manager, the coaches, and say, we're bringing somebody in to have a new way to run, new defense, new offense, all of these things. And most importantly, a change in the way the ownership operates. The ownership, which in this case is the governor, is really just operating. Why did the Cowboys never win? Because Jerry Jones meddles. The one time Jerry Jones didn't meddle with Jimmy Johnson, they won a whole bunch, right?
Yeah.
You are the problem. The system is the problem, and we're not fixing the system.
So reforming the IEDC was a major campaign issue for Braun, especially in the wake of the controversy surrounding the LEAP project and that forensic investigation. I will say it does seem like, if nothing else, he's trying to put out a message that seems like he wants it to change by putting out the forensic audit and now changing the board.
You hit the nail on the head. He wants you to think he wants it to change.
Right.
Now, what's also interesting about this is, and we told you this over a month ago, that your lieutenant governor is not interested in governing at all. So, and he's given away willfully. He didn't fight any of it, most of his power. He has still 2 basic agencies left. Under the previous lieutenant governors, there were all sorts of stuff under them. But because the current lieutenant governor is more interested in doing drum solos in music stores and photo ops at the Pizza King, rather than actually doing what he promised, which was to fight for you as taxpayers, he gave away his power because they'll let him go out and campaign as long as he just doesn't run his mouth and embarrass them. So that's the deal that he made. And what you have seen over the past month is an active and aggressive stranglehold by the governor to take agriculture, which is the primary function of the lieutenant governor, is to control agriculture and agriculture-related policy and decisions and administer those in the state. You have seen Braun, not Micah. All the agriculture stuff has been Braun photo ops, Braun press conferences, Braun announcements, Braun meet and greets. And now you're seeing Don Lamb, who is the director for the State Department of Agriculture, who, by the way, let me tell you how Don Lamb became a person. You want to see how the system works? This is why this show is number 1. Let me tell you. So Don Lamb was a member of the Boone County Council. Where is LEAP located at, by the way,
Boone
Case?
County.
Boy, that's wild. Don Lamb was a farmer, is a farmer. He became a member of the Boone County Council in 2018. Don Lamb was caucused in because he didn't get elected, right? He didn't go in front of the voters. He was caucused in when Brian Buchanan, who was the current council member, became a state senator. Brian Buchanan became a state senator when Brant Hirschman left to take a wonderful private sector job. Do you see how all of this works? Do you see how all of this rolls together about how it's just one guy replacing another guy, replacing another guy, replacing another guy? Well, now, all of a sudden, Don Lamb, Boone County Council, where's the LEAP district at? It's Boone County. He becomes, under Holcomb, appointed by Holcomb, by the way, the head of agriculture.
Right, the director of ag.
Do you think Holcomb would be appointing anyone who is against LEAP?
No.
And by the way, I challenge anyone, because there have been news articles in which Don Lamb has been asked directly about the IDC and LEAP, to find him saying anything negative about the IDC or LEAP. And yet, our lieutenant governor, who is having everything taken away from him, which would have allowed him to more effectively govern and do the things he campaigned on, not only has been just fine with that, he put out a statement cheerleading that the ag guy, who he should be riding herd over as the guy who's in the head of agriculture, not only is it all being taken away from him, this guy who he's supposed to be in charge of, because Micah should be in name now is the head of agriculture in name only,
right,
is now on the IEDC board, which means this guy is subservient to who?
Braun.
Yeah. Right. And not a peep other than this is great from our lieutenant governor.
He said that Indiana just gave farm families a direct seat at the economic strategy table.
No. What happened here is the guy who should be the voice for ag now becomes the voice for business and is further beholden to the governor.
Right. What does Don Lamb think about the LEAP project in Boone County and all the farmland being torn up for Lilly and the Facebook data center?
And the one you can find some articles about this where he was asked in his ag capacity, And one, I think it was Inside Indiana Business, did a big article when it came out that they were buying all this land. And you will not find him rejecting LEAP or the IEDC. It's his county. He's a farmer in that county. And he was very careful with his words, which means he's a political guy. It means he will default to politics over you, and you've got the lieutenant governor cheerleading this guy going over there, which makes him further beholden to business and to the governor rather than to the farmers, which is who he should be fighting for.
Right. The lieutenant governor said that Don's boots-on-the-ground perspective will sync IDC's game plan with the realities of Indiana soil, supply chains, and small-town main streets.
Wait, say that again. Say that again. Read that quote again.
Don's boots-on-the-ground perspective will sync IEDC's game plan with the realities of Indiana soil, supply chains, and small-town main streets.
Well, so what's Don been doing the past 2 years then, since he's been in this 2.5 years now, I think, since he's been in this very high-profile position? Because he's had a voice the past 2.5 years
as the director of ag.
Yeah, as LEAP has been being enacted.
In Boone County.
Yeah, where he's a farmer. Why hasn't he been, what was it, sinking? Sinking, is that the word Braun used?
No, it was Micah Beckwith who said
Oh, that's Micah that said that. Well, Micah, why hasn't Don been sinking the past 2.5 years when he's had this voice as some of the most beautiful, rich, fertile farmland in our entire state has been gobbled up and been essentially is in the process of being given away to mega corporations using public money to facilitate those transactions, which is why the farmers sell. And in this article, I think it was Inside Indiana Business did this article. They had asked Lamb about this, and he was all like, well, property rights and the ability, we don't want to be impeding on. He was doing the doublespeak, the political doublespeak thing. And you say, okay, that's fine, but this wasn't fair market value. This was the state coming in and overpaying with a quasi-government entity that it's incredibly hard to get information from. And essentially, we've talked to the farmers who were involved in some of these negotiations, some of them who rejected, where they said these farmers are told, you can fight us all you want. You're going to lose eventually. Might as well sell now.
Right.
We've had them on this program.
Right. We've got more money than you to fight this.
Why Micah would think this is a good idea to say this, and he said it on his campaign account, is where I believe it was. Why he would think this is a good idea is absolutely beyond me, but hey, as long as you don't interfere with the chance to play drums in the music store or the Pizza King photo op, I guess Micah's fine.
There's one other thing I'd like to add. There's only one female represented on this new board of directors. They're going to meet Wednesday for a meeting, and it's going to happen at 3 o'clock, and then they're going to have some subcommittee meetings after.
If Braun was really serious, here's what I'd do if I were Braun. If Braun was really serious about reforming the IEDC, and even if you don't want to give the vote away, see, there's a million different ways you could do this if you actually wanted to make the system better. Why not form let's say it's 3 people of taxpayer advocates? You don't have to give them a vote, but they get to go into all the meetings. They get to see all the documentation.
For transparency.
Absolutely.
Sake. Yeah.
You don't have to, if you're so concerned that they're not going to be competent enough. I mean, look at how bad the previous people did. But let's just pretend you're concerned they're not smart enough or not competent enough. Why don't you take 3 people and I'll throw 3 names out. How about this, right? Stephen Whitmer from the Indy Reporter, Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle, and James Briggs from the Indy Star, right? You don't like those? Well, here are 3 others. And those people get to sit on all the meetings, see all the documentation. They can tell the public what's going on.
Are these board meetings open to the public?
Look at how hard it is to get information out of these people, Casey. Yeah, so that would be my pitch. I'm sure that'll be ignored in the order in which it is received.
Heat advisory continues, and why taking a cold shower might actually be a bad idea. We'll tell you why coming up from 93 WIBC.
NBA playoffs are about to begin.
The energy is different. The tension is thick.
From way out, and he hits another one. He's at the goal, and he dunked. Halliburton for 3. 3 ball. Halliburton backs up. Oh! That did not happen. The Indiana Pacers, the Eastern Conference Championship. Halliburton has it pulling up and hitting.
Thank you for making us all Pacers proud. 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct. And man, probably noticing, it's a bit warm outside. That means you're probably putting a premium on making sure you stay cool in your home. And one of the best ways to do that is making sure your windows are up to date. If you've been thinking about upgrading the windows in your home, now is a phenomenal time thanks to Universal Windows Direct's Home Improvement Season Sale, where for payments as low as $99 a month, that's right, $99 a month, or no payments and no interest for an entire year, you can have brand new windows in your home. One more time, in case you didn't catch all that, windows for as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Now, some restrictions may apply, so to get all the details and schedule a totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
Heat advisory continues. The strong, dominant area of high pressure continues to grip a lot of people, bringing these hot and humid conditions across the Midwest. Heat advisory remains in effect until Friday. It's affecting 170 million people. Experts are saying you may be tempted to take a really cold shower, but don't do that because that could do more harm than good.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You might think, oh, I'm going to get in the cold shower and cool off, right?
Yeah.
Well, what that does is it causes your blood vessels to constrict, which actually traps the heat inside your body rather than releasing it. What they recommend is take a warm or cool shower, but definitely not cold. Just let the air temperature dry you, and that will cool you down.
I turned my thermostat up a couple degrees because I know how much it's costing me to keep the temperature where it normally is.
Yeah.
Does that make me a bad person?
You turned it up to make it cooler.
No, I turned it up like it was at 69, and then I cranked it up because I mean, think about how hard the worst thing you could have happen. Here's my primary concern: the worst thing you could have happen is have your air conditioner go out.
Right.
Like you think about this level of heat. If you got it in the
Working
60s,
overtime.
like think about where it's at. And so I thought, well, it's also costing me a lot of money too. What do you keep yours at?
Oh, you don't want to know. It's normally around 69 or 70 during the day, but at night, I turn it down really low.
Oh, you alter it.
It's like 65.
What? What?
Yeah. I like it cold and dark when I'm sleeping.
What is your electric bill? It's got to be like $10,000 because your house is like multi-story, so you got to cool.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Got to make sure the fans are going the right way and the vents are closed in certain areas so that you're not cooling unused rooms in the house. I know. It's only for a few hours. I don't sleep very long.
Oh my gosh!
I knew that would. Did that upset you?
No, it's fine. It's your life, and I know you're very independently wealthy, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But that's That's very cool. That's too cool.
No, it's good. Did you see that the Indiana Republicans are calling excessive spending a national threat?
Who is?
We'll tell you coming up after the
Wait. Time out before we go to break. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
You must have stuttered.
No, it's right there on WIBC.com.
Indiana Republicans.
Mm-hmm. Call excessive spending a national threat.
Is this like Indiana Republican? Like if it were Andrew Ireland, I could see Andrew Ireland, state representative, saying spending is a national threat.
Mm-hmm.
Who? Indiana?
Marlon Stutzman is one of them.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Does he know he voted for the spending? Do these guys even know what they vote on?
And we'll talk about it on the way. From 93 WIBC.
Neighborhoods are popping up everywhere, but if you want something different than what you're currently seeing, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, can build you a unique, custom home on your own private lot or anywhere you can bring your own builder. They've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. Visit Joyner Homes Model Homes or go to joynerhomes.com to see floor plans and pricing and more. With Joyner Homes, you can even start from scratch if you want. Check out their 5-star Google reviews and visit joynerhomes.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Calling it a violation of the agreement. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:30. President Trump briefly speaking to reporters at the White House about the ceasefire between Israel and Iran before leaving for the NATO summit in the Netherlands. The president vowing to help end the fighting, answering a reporter's question on who he believes violated the agreement first.
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it.
Israel has vowed to retaliate against Iran for allegedly launching missiles into their airspace shortly after the agreement was made. Iranian officials, however, insist they didn't do it. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivering remarks at that NATO summit in the Netherlands earlier this morning. The Ukrainian leader telling those in attendance at the Hague that his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, has no interest in agreeing to peace, and he doesn't plan to stop if he conquers Ukraine.
Putin only thinks about war. That's a fact. Maybe he connects his own political survival with his ability to keep killing. So long as he kills, he lives.
The address comes after Russian drone and artillery strikes killed at least 18 civilians and injured 100 others in Ukraine. More small towns in the U.S. are about to receive fast delivery from Amazon. Fox's Jenny Casala.
Amazon is expanding same-day and next-day delivery to an additional 4,000 smaller cities, towns, and rural communities by the end of the year. It will invest $4 billion to triple the size of its delivery network by the end of 2026. Prime members will have access to unlimited free same-day delivery when spending more than $25 at checkout.
And Hollywood icons Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise making a surprise appearance together at the F1 The Movie London premiere. It marks their first public reunion in over 30 years. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Stop putting screens on your gutters. If the holes are too big, debris gets in and you're still cleaning your gutters. If the holes are too small, it sits on top and you're cleaning the screens. And those screens will need to be replaced. They just don't last. Pat Sullivan here. I have Gutter Helmet on my home and business, and it has no holes, slots, or screens. It keeps the debris out and the water in. Since 1981, Gutter Helmet has been America's #1 choice for gutter protection. And this is a great time of year to call Gutter Helmet of Central Indiana, because right now, Gutter Helmet is offering a 15% discount plus 12 months no interest financing if paid in full within 12 months. Call 800-5HELMET, that's 800-5HELMET, to schedule a free estimate. 15% off is good through the end of June. Restrictions apply and cannot be combined with other offers. Call Gutter Helmet today at 800-5HELMET or go to gutterhelmetindy.com and never clean your gutters again.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
We may be thousands of miles apart, but we can still connect. And when we do, we make things better. At Child Fund, we connect children all around the world with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Together, we co-create connections that help millions of children who live in poverty worldwide, and their families, and their communities, and you. Join us. Together, we can make the world a better place. 2 small worlds at a time. Visit childfund.org to learn more.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. If you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out the place we call home, Life Church. Life Church has campuses all across central Indiana, which include Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. And they've got great online services. Life Church is warm, they're welcoming, they love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. They got great stuff going on all summer long at Life Church. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Life Church has been great to me. They've been great to our family. See it for yourself. Check them out on the web. Learn more at lifechurchin.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today. Overcoming drug addiction is difficult. The road to recovery is different for everyone. Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
One of my 10 all-time favorite songs. Top 10.
Bad Company.
Silver, Blue, and Gold.
Yeah, I like this one too. Mick Ralphs, guitarist and founding member of Bad Company, passed away.
Yes, he was the co-founder. The most prominent member of Bad Company, of course, was Paul Rodgers, one of the all-time great frontmen. Paul Rodgers was a member of Free in the 1960s and then formed Bad Company. And then most recently, now he's had some health problems the past 10 years or so, but most recently he was when Queen initially decided to go back out on tour. He played the Freddie Mercury role. Now, what Adam Lambert took over after Paul Rodgers, but Paul Rodgers was the original guy that did that. But yes, you're right. While Paul Rodgers is the guy who got a lot of the publicity as the front man, it was Mick Ralphs, who had been in a group called Mott the Hoople. All the Young Dudes was their big hit, who sort of helped put the band and organize the band and put it together. And I think Bad Company is a top 10 all-time band too. I think when you look at what's our standard, if you have 3 mega hits or 3 hits, you're a mega star. Bad Company had tons.
Yeah.
I mean, tons. You had Feeling Making Love, Can't Get Enough, Shooting Star, Bad Company, Rock and Roll Fantasy, Silver, Blue, and Gold. I mean, it's just an endless list in the 1970s, and they actually went into the 80s as well. So it's a big deal, right? It's one of these guys who, like if you said, hey, Paul Rodgers had passed away, people would probably know who that is. This guy was just as important in the creation of Bad Company as Paul Rodgers, but without the name identity or the publicity.
Right. Well, he wrote or co-wrote Ready for Love, Can't Get Enough, and Feel Like Making Love, 2 of the songs that you just mentioned. He was set to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Bad Company in November.
So, that's right. Yeah, Bad Company's going in, and so is Warren Zevon. This is going to be a big year for us. We got Bad Company and Warren Zevon going in this year.
Yeah. He didn't make it to the induction.
Isn't it crazy too? Like these guys and their generation. So he was I think he was 81.
81.
Yeah. So their generation was sort of like the first generation of musicians where their mainstream viability, I wouldn't say because they're not commercially successful, but their mainstream viability lasted decades. Now, there were guys previously like Frank Sinatra who could, 20, 30-year career where they'd go out on stage and people would want to see them. But that generation, I'm talking about the guys that were big in the late 60s and in the early 70s, like you're talking 40, 50 years of sustained success.
Right.
That's not going to happen anymore, where there's just a whole pocket of musicians and bands that people were still paying money to see 30, 40 years on after their heyday. There may be individuals like, say, Taylor Swift, who might be able to sustain lasting success, but not the way that generation did. That's going to be one of a kind. It's going to be a one-off, and hope you enjoyed them while they were here.
Yeah. Their music's still testing through the roof.
Yeah.
People still like it. You have an issue with Taylor Swift right now, don't you? You've been talking about this all morning.
So, I don't seek this out, but if I'm going to be subjected to it by force, then I'm going to comment on it. That's always my real. It's the way the government, right? Like if the government just allowed me to opt out of having to deal with them and pay taxes, you never hear a word from me. But if you're going to take my money, I'm going to comment on how you do your job.
Okay.
Right. So maybe in the big beautiful bill there'll be some special exemption. So I'll just shut up. Let's give the Rob Kendall the state, local, and federal tax exemption.
I don't think so.
The Taylor Swift thing, people keep in my timeline this video of her.
Mm-hmm.
She's out somewhere with Travis Kelce, who is still her boyfriend, and this is what I will get to in a second.
Right.
That she is out somewhere, and they're coming out of some club or restaurant or something, and she looks like she's having trouble keeping
her balance,
composure, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's no big deal, right? I mean, it's no like she's not behind a wheel, she's not operating heavy machinery. It's fine. She's a free person. She can do exactly as she wants. And I'm the last person that's gonna criticize somebody in the prime of their existence from having a little too much fun in the evening. But okay, she's 35.
Mm-hmm.
She's been with this guy now for
a couple years.
Yeah, going on 2 years, and don't you at some point have to make the call? Like, don't you if you don't know after 2 years or 2-ish years and you're that age, like, don't you have to, from what's the Russell Crowe movie, Gladiator, thumb up, thumb down? What was it, Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
Don't you have to make that call at some point as an adult if you don't know after 2 years it's time to move on?
Well, if they're having a good time and they like being with each other. I don't know. Does Taylor Swift want to have children?
Well, this was the conversation.
Maybe she doesn't, so she's protecting her empire then.
This would be the conversation that you and I had earlier, which is it would be bad. I maintain it would be bad for her brand to get married and be happy.
Right. It's better off for her if they break up and she's got an album out of it, or 2 or 3.
Like
double album.
And I say this as someone who, my favorite artist is a guy who the greatest music he produced, Bruce Springsteen, was about the search of happiness, the idea of happiness and chasing after that thing, and then tracking the lives of characters who were searching for, they were really just a reflection of him. The characters were searching for the same things that he was. And then once he let that woman in the band and he married her, and his music sucked for 15 years, right? And it only came back when he did that fabulous album about 9/11. It ruins the brand, and her brand is...
bad breakups.
I'm miserable, and it's always someone else's fault. And if she finds happiness, I maintain it would hurt. This thing says she's worth $1.6 billion, so it doesn't matter whether she sells 1 million albums or 500,000 or 5 million or whatever.
She doesn't need to sell it.
It doesn't matter
anymore at all.
I'm just saying her whole shtick has been, I'm miserable. I'm made miserable. It's somebody else's fault. You identify with me. You go, girl. Like, that is the brand.
Right.
And if she marries some guy and she finds happiness,
she can't write a bunch
she
of
can't do that anymore.
Peppy, snappy, happy tunes.
She'd have to say the misery was all my fault.
We need Lover's Lament.
So anyway, that was my thing is like, but I didn't want to talk about it. I was forced to because
it keeps showing
up in my
Gotcha. And you have to have an opinion then. You want to talk about Marlin Stutzman? He called the $36 trillion national debt the greatest threat facing the United States, and he blamed decades of irresponsible congressional spending for the crisis.
Well, shame on Marlin Stutzman, because Marlin's another guy. This is why I'm just out of ever supporting or endorsing. This guy, in the case of Marlin, he'd already been there and done the thing well. You can't count on anybody anymore. Marlin was like a mass. So Marlin Stutzman is a congressman from the 3rd Congressional District. He was a congressman. He then left to run against Todd Young for U.S. Senate. Mitch McConnell, Spendingberg's adult supervision, spent millions and millions of dollars to get Todd Young elected. Jim Banks went into that seat, became a senator. Marlin Stutzman ran for Congress, won the seat back. And Marlin Stutzman, the first time he was there, was a Thomas Massey type character. Now, not the bravado of a Massey, but he voted against a lot of stuff. He made a lot of enemies, which is why Mitch McConnell spent all that money to defeat him in a U.S. Senate primary. And so when he went back, it was like, okay, great. Finally, somebody that we can really depend on who has a track record. Well, he gets in there, and he's just basically become a Trump butt smoocher. And he voted for this big, beautiful bullcrap bill thing that adds all this. Does Marlin not know?
How we voted. He's been praising the Senate Republicans that have been holding out on the budget deal. He said that we need to grow the economy and reduce government interference.
But I want to come back to this. But he does not know he voted for the thing that does the exact opposite.
The spending thing?
Complicates the tax code, adds spending, adds giveaways, picks winners and losers, adds to the national debt. All these things he's rejecting, he just voted for.
He said yes to. He said that he expects Republicans will unite to control spending. But here's another point that I want to bring up to you. The Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, he said that the Senate's going to stay in D.C. until they pass the big, beautiful bill. Like, this is such, they have to, oh my goodness, Rob, they're going to have to stay there and work.
Nothing, and I've said this numerous times, and Thune is admitting it right here, nothing petrifies lawmakers like the threat of having to work. So I just don't understand how they're going to square this. Now, of course, these guys lie all the time and quote unquote change their mind and go back on their word. I don't understand because the parliamentarian just threw a bunch of stuff out that was designed to be the spending cuts. So now you've taken something that already spends more than the House bill, which the House Freedom Caucus people said, this is our line in the sand. Your job is to make it better. If you make it any worse, we're out. They've just added another $1 trillion to the debt already in the bill. Now, the parliamentarian threw a bunch of stuff out, which will add more. So I don't understand how Ron Johnson, stereo salesman, Rand Paul, Lee, and then Scott, who are the four that said unless it gets better, we're against it, how they could possibly vote for this. But then it would have to come back to the House, and with this line in the sand, oh, by the way, they've also gutted the SALT thing in this, is my understanding, which a bunch of those House squish establishment liberal Republicans said was their line in the sand. This is a mess. This is everything that's wrong with government. The Republicans are doing it the same way they criticize the Democrats of doing it. It never changes. It doesn't matter who's in charge. They keep doing the same stuff.
Hammer's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, a ceasefire that's highly unlikely. What Trump is after, yet what reality states. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend is my friend Mark Deedle. Perhaps you're worried with a challenging market, you won't sell your home for the price it's worth. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Luke and Emma in Franklin had to say about working with Mark Deedle. We found the perfect piece of land and began building our new dream home, but we needed to sell our old place at the right price to fund the dream. We hired the Mark Deedle team and got multiple offers in the first weekend. Closed in 25 days, and they negotiated for us to stay while we completed our new place. Selling was stress-free and profitable with Mark Deedle. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Deedle at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
The Indiana Derby is one of the best days of summer. It's the state's biggest horse racing event with over $1 million in total purse money on the line. This is Racing Rachel inviting you to Horseshoe Indianapolis Saturday, July 5th for all the fun. The 31st running of the Indiana Derby has a loaded race card with 8 stakes races featuring some of the nation's top 3-year-old thoroughbreds. And off track at Horseshoe Indy, we've got loads of other Derby Day entertainment for fans too, like a free cigar rolling station for the first 500 people, $1,000 hat contest, a handicapping contest, plus mega bet drawing, magic mirror selfie station, food trucks, and more. All ages are welcome, plus admission and parking are free. First race goes off at noon, rain or shine, with plenty of seating both indoors and out. So join us for the 31st running of the Indiana Derby, July 5th at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Come on out and have a day.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things, even committed some crimes, but I'm not a criminal.
I work for youth advocate programs, yeah. I was Tamani's advocate, helping him stay out of jail, stay in the neighborhood, and get a job.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
YAP is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration and neighborhood violence. Youth advocate programs. Learn how at yapinc.org.
Our show Expedition Retirement now has a new name. Join us for Fire Your Financial Advisor, Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Rock out with America as they celebrate 55 years of hits like A Horse with No Name, Sister Golden Hair, and Ventura Highway. Catch them live at the Indiana State Fair's Hoosier Lottery Free Stage. Head to WIBC.com for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Indiana State Fair.
Jason Hammer joins us. Hello.
Man, the amount of text messages that I've received over the last 48 to 72 hours has been amazing. I didn't think there could be this many Operation Midnight Hammer jokes, but my friends are pretty creative. Like, the minute that attack happened and that press conference the next day, it was Operation Midnight Hammer.
Yep.
The filth, flarn, filth that was being texted to me and my wife was pretty top notch, including the official mailman of the Hammer and Nigel show.
Yeah, I was in the group chat. That was not safe for work, but it was a good one.
Correct. So yesterday we decided, all right, let's run with this. We got in the lab. We worked with our fragrance company, Hammer and Nigel Fragrances, and we thought we would strike while the iron's hot.
New from Hammer and Nigel Fragrances. A cologne for lower-class men who like lower-class women.
Excuse me? What the hell?
Its distinctive smell is a mix of Beech Grove Walmart shopper and a Waffle House fart. It's a little Mountain Dew and a whole lot of bourbon. It's Midnight Hammer, Just 2 squirts and you'll smell just like Jason Hammer at 12 a.m., right before he disappoints the coupon lady in bed.
Wait, you're done? That's it?
Taco Bell, beer, donuts, sweat. It's all here. Perfect for any man who's been disappointing women sexually since 1995.
Jason Hammer here. I'm ready for love, even though I was just on the toilet 5 minutes ago.
Midnight Hammer. Exclusively from Hammer and Nigel Fragrances.
I hate you so much, you fat ass.
It's a top seller right now. Hammer and Nigel fragrances. We need to get that on the merch store.
Yeah.
We have a new merch store provider, actually.
Oh.
So we have a slow rollout going on right now. Patriotic shirt sale.
Oh.
If you go to store.hammerandnigel.com, anytime now through midnight on Wednesday, you're guaranteed your delivery by the 4th of July.
And I love that you got your wife in that advertisement, too.
The coupon lady.
Yeah.
I was driving, coming in today, listening to you guys talk about the heat. Listen, I don't know if I'm the only one here, but I will take heat advisory and 100 degrees and swamp ass over negative 20 and having to start my car up every single day of the week. If my options are this or freezing, taking the trash out sometime in January, sign me up for this. I'm here. And what we've been doing on our program, just to make sure everybody is safe and healthy, we've got the help of the First Lady of WIBC, Terry Stacy, for some summer safety tips.
And now, Hammer and Nigel present Summer Safety with Terry Stacy.
The very best way to beat the heat on a hot summer day is by pouring 40 ounces of Old Milwaukee right down the front of your underpants.
Summer Safety with Terry Stacy.
Got to be a full 40.
Sound advice there.
Right. If it's a small boy, it's not going to work. It's not going to keep you cool. It's got to be a full 40.
She knows what she's talking about.
Right. I would like to see Terry Stacy pour some 40s down my pants. I'm not going to lie. I think we'd all enjoy that.
What are you doing this afternoon? What's going on with the Hammer and Nigel show?
We have a Luke Bryan update. And there's no better person to have about that than Jeff Boggs in studio.
Are you giving away America tickets at some point? I just heard their ad.
I don't believe we're giving away tickets. I think we're just promoting it as partners of the fair.
Man, I was hoping you could get me some tickets.
I don't believe we have it. If we do, I'll try to hook you up.
Thank you. I love America.
But Jeff Boggs is going to be here. We got caller roulette this afternoon, which is always a disaster. And the biggest stories today, an amazing chopper presser earlier today. So cue up the sound effects.
Yeah.
Say it. We got a chopper presser probably to start the show this afternoon.
Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Downtown Indy's Fourth Fest, presented by UA Local 440 on the Indiana War Memorial Grounds, kicks off with a street party featuring live music, a kids zone, great local food, and more 6 to 10 p.m. Then fireworks with an amazing grand finale thanks to the Indiana Fever and WNBA All-Star Committee.
The street party is brought to you by Indiana Donor Network and Donate Life Indiana. One organ and tissue donor can save 8 lives and heal 75 more. Sign up at donatelifeindiana.org and talk to your family about your decision.
For more info, go to downtownindy.org.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Trust employee owned. B-Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, it's going to be hot, but for how long? High temperatures sticking around. Tyrese Halliburton with a message to the fans following his surgery on a torn Achilles. A former Ben Davis track coach is facing charges of child seduction, and what the president of the Indianapolis FOP has to say about the city's violence issue. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
The ceasefire appears to be holding. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After President Trump got upset, blaming Iran and Israel for violating the agreement right after it went into effect.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.
The president telling reporters before he took off for the NATO summit this morning that he was unhappy. Iran fired missiles, and then Israel vowed to bomb in retaliation.
And I'm going to see if I can stop it.
Well, then on Air Force One, he posted on Truth Social that Israel turned the planes around. An Iranian missile attack before the ceasefire hit a building in Beersheba, killing 4 Israelis. Meanwhile, Fox's Jennifer Griffin reports from the Pentagon.
The biggest problem now with the tenuous ceasefire is that the Iranians have given no guarantees that they won't go back to pursuing a nuclear bomb. There has been no agreement by the Iranian regime to return to negotiations and no indication they have given up their nuclear ambitions, despite the U.S. military having set its program back significantly this weekend.
Now, today in the afternoon, intelligence officials will give the House and then the Senate classified briefings on those U.S. airstrikes that hit Iran's nuclear facilities. Republican Senate Leader John Thune tells Fox.
What happened over the weekend was one of the reasons the American people voted for President Trump. It is peace through strength. What he did was historic. It should be viewed through that lens, and the Democrats are going to complain loudly, but they are just flat on the wrong side of history on this issue.
Now, some Democrats have suggested impeachment, claiming the president acted illegally, joining Israel's war without congressional authorization. At the House right now, the Federal Reserve Chairman just said at a hearing,
despite elevated uncertainty, the economy is in a solid position.
But Jerome Powell also just said there's still uncertainty about inflation and other effects of the Trump tariffs, so the Fed can continue to wait and see before cutting interest rates. Now, the president is demanding a big cut, again critical of Powell this morning, calling him very dumb and hard-headed. The first tropical storm of the Atlantic season has just formed, but Andrea, way out in the Atlantic, is forecast to move east away from the U.S. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Using up that AC this week. Sunny and 87 now in the Circle City. The high today, 94. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Temperatures are expected to be in the 90s for multiple days this week. A heat advisory is in effect for much of the week as well.
Our normal for this time of year is in the mid-80 range. So these 90s, they're not unheard of. They're definitely warmer than normal, and especially whenever we get long stretches of 90-plus degree days.
Casey Fuson with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says humidity levels will make it feel like 100 at times, too. Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton now in recovery mode after making it through surgery last night in New York on his torn Achilles tendon in his right leg. Halliburton suffered that injury in the first quarter of Game 7 of the NBA Finals. In a post he made to his social media accounts last night, Halliburton threw up his hands to make a heart sign and said he has no regrets and is ready to come back strong for this team and this city. A person is injured in an overnight shooting on the northeast side of Indianapolis near 38th Street and Keystone. The victim found with gunshot wounds but was conscious when police arrived. IMPD is now investigating. Violence escalating in Indianapolis. President of the Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police, Rick Snyder, says now is the time to act to limit the gunshots and the crime.
A triple shooting near Monument Circle, a triple shooting on the canal. We had the windows of many businesses that were shot out and left bullet hole ridden, and we have politicians in in charge in Indianapolis who continue to shrug this off.
Snyder calls out Mayor Joe Hogsett and Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears and say they are not doing enough to keep the city safe. Police say a former Ben Davis assistant track coach is facing charges of child seduction. 26-year-old Harrison Goss was arrested Monday. He faces 5 counts, including one that says he had sex with a 16-year-old student. His initial hearing scheduled for tomorrow morning. And the Indiana Fever struggling to get any sort of winning rhythm going so far this season. Aaliyah Boston says all they can do right now is take it one game at a time.
Our focus is Seattle. We can't look too far ahead because Seattle is right around the corner. So just making sure that we look at this game, what Seattle does, how we want to play, make sure we are just prepared because obviously they're a good team, and so we have to make sure that we're ready for that.
Coming off the loss to Las Vegas on Sunday, the Fever will face the Seattle Storm this evening out west. Tip-off at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, I have a very, very novel idea.
What's that?
And you'll have to stay with me for a minute.
Okay.
But I think once you get done hearing it, you're going to say, you're right, Rob. That is the greatest idea ever.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Lay it on me.
If you don't want to get sent to a really bad place, don't come into our country illegally.
That's a great idea. That is the greatest idea ever.
I told you that once you heard it, you would be all on board with that. Okay, so like humanity is just ridiculous at this point. So yesterday, the Supreme Court came out and ruled in favor of the Trump administration that they could deport illegal immigrants to, I call them third-party providers. I don't think that's the technical.
Third countries?
I don't think that's the name for them.
Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
But basically, especially as it relates to uber violent or dangerous offenders, we're not under any obligation to keep them in this country. Trump can send them where he wants. And a bunch of these people had filed a federal lawsuit. Of course they were. And by the way, I loved in the Hill article, they were anonymous people. Why? Because I would gather that if they found out who they were, they're in the country illegally and they'd get in big trouble. So and these supporting groups had filed this lawsuit, which of course they found a liberal judge who was willing to side with them, who was saying that they couldn't do this or they had to go through various steps and processes. And the Trump administration had said, now wait a second, y'all got mad when we didn't turn the plane around for the one group of people. So there was this I call them third-party provider, third country, where this plane and these people, the U.S. security had to keep track of these people until they could get this court case clarified, which is why the Trump administration tried to fast-track it to the Supreme Court, said, we got our people in harm's way. We're trying to abide by this judge, but we're in a foreign country on the ground with these lunatics. We just want to leave them here. This other country said they'll take them.
Right. Can we come back now?
You're putting our people in danger. And finally, the Supreme Court, of course, it was 6-3. It was the three usual liberal suspects. And then, you never know with Barrett and Roberts. But in this one, they seem to be on the side of common sense and said, yeah, Don't come in the country illegally if you don't get shipped somewhere bad.
Yeah. So Sotomayor issued that 19-page dissent. She's really angry about it. She was joined by Kagan and Jackson, and they said the ruling exposed thousands to the risk of torture or death. And I don't know if you saw this. DHS just approved a plan by Florida to build a detention center for illegals.
The moat? The alligator moat?
The Everglades, I guess. Yeah, an alligator moat.
Yeah, it's like they're creating basically an Alcatraz.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're stuck in the swamp instead of on the island there in San Francisco. But I mean, think about this. It's such an easy problem to avoid. If you don't want to get sent to a dangerous country and don't have anything bad happen to you, don't come in our country illegally. Pretty simple, right? We won't send you anywhere bad if you don't come in our country illegally. I'm so glad that they ruled this way. There has to be some threat. See, the reason people all came during Biden was there was no threat. What's the worst that's going to happen to us? Oh, you caught us. Well, I guess we'll see you in 2 years when we come back for our court date.
Right.
And then you're free to venture off into the country.
Free to move about the country.
This is one thing, like, as critical as I am of Trump and this big bullcrap bill and some of the other stuff he does, I would vote for Trump every single time, no questions asked, just based off of how he's handling the border, just based off how he's handling illegal immigration, just how he's handling, finally we have somebody serious about getting violent, dangerous people out of this country. I would vote for him just based on that.
When you think about it, Biden was like Tom Bodette. We'll leave the light on for you. Come on in.
Tom Bodette was in some sort of lawsuit.
Is he?
With Motel 6 over some sort of copyright. Yes, filibuster for like 20 seconds for
Probably
me.
he would. Is he not allowed to say, we'll leave the light on for you anymore?
It was something where they didn't pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens here. I didn't even for years know that Tom Bodette was a real guy. I thought he was just some made-up actor.
Oh, really?
No, he's like a real dude. Let's see news, Tom Bodette. Oh, yeah, here it is. MSN. This was 4 hours ago. Motel 6 is being sued by its longtime spokesperson, Tom Bodette.
They owe him money.
Oh, here it is. I'll just read it to you. See, this is our show. We went from the dangerous, violent people to Tom Bodette. Tom Bodette is suing Motel 6. The longtime spokesman, this is according to MSN, says the chain is using his voice and name without permission. After 39 years of working together, Motel 6 allegedly failed to make an annual payment and has not rectified the situation, Bodette says.
Yeah, there it is. It's some sort of, long-standing contract they had.
Who was he? Was he famous? Was he just some guy?
Didn't he host a travel show?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I believe so. I think that's why Motel 6
people would know who he was.
Yeah,
I knew him.
sign him on.
Tom.
Because he was famous for travel.
No kidding.
I could be wrong.
I always just thought he was famous for being the guy. Let's see. He is, what does Wikipedia list him? See, how did you do radio before the internet?
We took guesses.
An American author, voice actor, woodworker, and radio personality, primarily as a host.
Look at that. I was right. Yeah, he was a radio guy. I think most of his stuff was about traveling, which is why Motel 6 signed him on.
PR, personal background. Let's see. Contributing to NPR's All Things Considered. He was contributing to, I think you're right.
Everything you needed to know about Tom Bodette and more. Speaking of Joe Biden.
Well, think about it. It's one of the most famous voices you've, it's like the Harry Chapin character in WOLD. The bright good morning voice who's heard but never seen. How many people have heard those commercials over the years? I'm Tom Bodette. We'll leave the light on for you. And you've never seen the guy. If he walked past you at an Arby's, you'd have no idea that it's Tom Bodette.
You wouldn't have any idea who
and he's
he was.
super famous. One of those famous voices in America.
Right. So famous that he's in a court case with Motel 6, right?
That's right.
So speaking of Joe Biden, his White House doctor is set to appear for a deposition before the House Oversight Committee. That's going to happen next month. They've scheduled this for July 9th. That's when he'll be deposed.
How many times? I mean, Hammer was in here with us earlier, and we were talking about this. I don't care about this at all. How many times have we heard about, the smoking gun, the so-and-so is going to testify? Remember when they were on the Hunter Biden stuff, and the business guy testified and confirmed all the stuff, and then what happened? Nothing ever happens.
Well, this is the guy that said that Biden was fit for duty and that he can fully execute all the responsibilities of his office.
He lied. Okay, we're done here. Next. What more? He lied.
Right.
Everybody lied.
Biden's out of office, so that damage is done.
Why didn't you do something about it while he was in there? Same thing with his loser kid. Why didn't you do something while the guy was in this? What the Republicans always do, because they don't want to actually solve problems, because then you can't fundraise off solving the problem. If you solve the problem, we'll have this guy come in and testify. Yeah, the dude's been a human vegetable for a long time, and everybody lied to cover it up. Next.
You know, we've got to talk about Donald Trump being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize and also what he said at the chopper presser this morning, throwing F-bombs around. But you mentioned something. Why didn't he do it before?
Why didn't who do what before?
Well, you were saying why didn't the doctor say something before?
Right.
And that reminded me of something we have to talk about, and that is that the Secretary of State, Indiana Secretary of State, and also the Lieutenant Governor both put out posts recently within the past 72 hours saying that they're not on board with adding toll roads to the interstates.
Whoa. Wait a second. So, I don't know if this line is copyrighted or not, but to steal a line from Bruce Willis and Die Hard, welcome to the party, pal. Are these two... By the way, Micah oversees the Senate, which voted on this.
Correct.
Over 2 months ago.
Right.
Does he not know what he oversaw?
It already passed. It's a done deal.
So, are we even in real life? How many times a day do I look at you and go, is this am I even experiencing?
It's more like, Casey, what's going on?
Okay, so time it. So, over 2 months ago, which we talked about in real time as it was happening at length on this program, the General Assembly, of which Micah is the president of one half of the General Assembly,
Senate.
So the body that he's the president of, voted to give the governor unlimited tolling authority.
Correct.
Because we have a bunch of, I can't say that. We have a bunch of very gutless people that run our government. I was going to say something that started with chicken and then had a second word with it, but I realized I still don't think we're allowed to say that on
picking up what you're throwing down.
Family-friendly airwaves. So, because they're cowards and they don't have the guts, it's the same way the gas tax goes up every year without a vote. They don't want to take the vote. They don't want to own raising your taxes every year, so they just do it indefinitely. The cowardly lions in the General Assembly voted to give the governor, they ceded their authority,
handed it right over,
which is taxation, money, oversight of that. They gave it away to the governor. Whatever Braun wants to do with tolling, he can do now as long as the federal government says okay.
He's got to ask Sean Duffy, hey, can we do this? And Sean Duffy, of course, is going to say, oh, sure, you do what you need to do.
So if Braun tomorrow wanted to toll 70, 65, 69 on multiple locations, as long as the federal government said okay. If you want to toll 465, as long as the government says okay.
Every single interstate.
That's correct.
In the entire state.
And we talked about this 2 months ago when it happened, day after day after day after day. And remember at the time, the lawmakers were like, I can't remember which one it was, Pressel. I think it was Pressel that was like, oh, it's years off. We're not going to be any tolling for years. Oh, no, you guys don't worry. Just pay attention to the fact we raised the speed limit on 465 and pat us on the back. And then like a week later, Braun's at the Munster Chamber of Commerce is like, oh, yeah, I'm coming for the tolling.
Totally doing that.
So that was 2 months ago. There were tons of news reports about it. We talked about it. And we say that we talked about it not because we're special, but we know because we hear from the state out, these people respond to us all the time that they're clearly listening. And yet, for some reason, over the weekend, Bobblehead came out with some post tagging some local news article somewhere that he was against tolling.
Okay, so Micah came out, I believe this was on Saturday. He said, this is a hard pass for me. Tolling our interstates is a form of taxation and another financial burden that Indiana Republicans want to put on Hoosiers. Call your state reps and state senators and tell them to end this nonsense right now. Don't Illinois my Indiana.
Whoa. Time. Call your reps and senators. They've already voted on it.
It's a done deal.
There's no one in session. Does Micah not even know how the government he runs? You guys are in session, Micah, from January to April or January to March. That's it. Does he not know how the government he helps run works? Call your reps and senators and tell them to do what? What, Micah, are they supposed to do when I call them?
Take it back.
Next January, get on it?
Take it back, Rob. That's what.
Okay, so he was overseeing the Senate, although he might have been playing with the Tesla when this was going on, because we know he wasn't paying attention at all that day. He was playing with the Tesla and allegedly filming the reporters because he thought that was funny and blah, blah, blah. But this could have been one of those days. But he was theoretically, or he may have been hanging out with Charlie Kirk. I don't know. But assuming he was there that day and actually doing work on the taxpayers' behalf, he would have oversaw the bill that was voted on and approved by the Senate, which that's how bills become law. So he didn't throw a fit then. He wasn't begging people to call reps and senators when they were actually in session and could have done something about it. Now he posts 2 months later after it's gone into effect that you're supposed to call your rep and senator, links to this local news story as though it's just hit him between the eyes this is going on.
Well, every news outlet in the state had some sort of story about this, but this came from WNDU out of South Bend. And the story is Indiana's making history as the first state to approve tolls on all interstates. So that's what Micah was commenting on over the weekend. Well, yesterday at 11 a.m., the Secretary of State, Diego Morales, he tweeted about this, and he said, as Indiana Secretary of State and head of Business Services Division, I stand firmly against adding toll roads to our interstates. This move would burden Hoosier businesses. We want to continue being a top state to start a business. Tolling our interstates won't help. I mean, they're both right on these points. However, a little late now. And here's the odd thing about this. Diego attached the exact same WNDU story that Micah did. But Diego took it a step further. Not only did he attach the story, but he put his logo on it too. So you've got the story and you've got the WNDU logo. And then the Diego Morales, Indiana Secretary of State logo, all on this one picture.
So if you scour the internet, and maybe somebody can prove me wrong, I can't find anything related to Diego coming out against this again when it was being voted on. Like there's no call your senators, let's hold a rally at the steps of the State House. Maybe somebody can prove me wrong and show where he's been super engaged. I think he might have been in India when this was being voted on.
Going on.
I'm not being facetious when I'm saying that because he was there so long that I don't know. I mean, he blew off his budget hearing, so he may not have even known this was going on. But you're right, Case. This little dangerous alliance that's being formed there because Mike and Diego, 2 months after late to the party, sharing the same article, saying the same thing after they were at the Pacers game with their felon friend, taking in the NBA Finals together. So are they a pair now?
Are
they a couple?
Maybe. Stay tuned. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The NBA playoffs are about to begin.
The energy is different. The tension is thick.
From way out, and he hits another one. He's at the goal, and he dunked. Halliburton for three. Three ball. Halliburton backs up. Oh! That did not happen! The Indiana Pacers, the Eastern Conference Championship. Halliburton has it pulling up and hitting.
Thank you for making us all Pacers proud. 93 WIBC.
As an IT professional, you have the opportunity to guarantee your data security, participate in 100% landfill-free disposal, and have peace of mind with R2 V3 certifications. Technology Recyclers provides guaranteed complete data destruction, 100% landfill-free disposal, and the certification to back it up. Protect your data while saving the planet. Receive a free pickup of your e-waste from Technology Recyclers. Visit tech-recyclers.com. That's tech-recyclers.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Pat Sullivan here for Michaelis. They're a locally owned and operated family business serving Central Indiana for over 39 years. I'm here with Richard Michaelis, who has helped many homeowners with foundation, basement, and crawl space issues.
That's right. If you notice cracks or bowing in your basement walls or detect moisture in the basement or crawl space,
It might indicate a serious issue, but it could be a simpler fix than you think.
When you spot a problem, it won't magically improve on its own. It will only get worse over time. Take action now to prevent bigger issues down the road.
That's correct. Contact Michaelis for a free inspection so you can have peace of mind. Our foundation and crawl space work has a lifetime warranty. We offer 0% down financing on foundation, basement, and crawl space repairs. You see our work before we see your money.
Foundations, basements, or crawl spaces, life happens, and Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY. That's 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of our best stamped concrete patio. Hurry, offer ends June 30th. Go to indydecorativeconcrete.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This time next week, I'll be sick in bed with West Nile virus, thanks to a mosquito bite right in front of my house.
In 8 minutes, my daughter will be in an ambulance, having an asthma attack, triggered by cockroaches.
I'm going to be bitten by a tick today. I won't even know it until Lyme disease turns my life upside down.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Trust employee owned. B-Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Donald Trump scolded both Israel and Iran after that ceasefire. He said he had brokered between the two. It seemed to falter. How do we feel about the president dropping the F-bombs during a quick presser?
Yeah, it's totally unprofessional. It should never happen. It's not cool. You're the president of the United States. You're leader of the free world. If we can do a 3-hour radio show and every day not drop the F-bomb, you as the president can do a simple press conference without profanity. I said it about Biden. I said it about Trump. Like, you are the most famous looked at person in the world. You are the representative of this country. Something like this relates to other countries and world affairs and has the potential to dramatically impact the entire globe. I'm not, and again, I'm not like somebody who's like, you should never use that word. I mean, it's not great. It's not great, but I'm saying, I'm not being hypocritical, like saying, oh, I've never sworn in my entire life. However, in your professional environment, when you're in front of a camera, or in this case, when we're in front of the radio microphones, right, you should be able to hold it together enough that we don't need to be dropping profanity, especially as the leader of the free world.
He seemed like he was angry because he said, they've been fighting forever. They don't know what they're doing. Was that just an exclamation point, a message to them to let them know how upset he was?
Well, he should be mad at himself, though, because he did this to himself, which is he ran out there. He's embarrassed because he ran out there and did that big thing on Twitter.
Congratulations, world. Yeah.
What is the thing he owns? Not Twitter.
Truth.
Thank you. And that's not, and I said this with the bombings, that's not the way to do diplomacy. You're the president of the United States. The way you do diplomacy is you stand in front of a camera. Once you have all your ducks in a row, which clearly they didn't, and not everybody was on board, and you make the announcement with your words where you look in a camera, you look the American people in the eye and say, here's what's going on, here's what we're doing. Clearly, he didn't even have the buy-in of all the parties based on the fact that as soon as the thing went out, they started throwing rockets at each other again. You're never going to get peace. You're just not. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, and Tony has kind of alluded to this too. He does it in a more articulate way than I do because this is Tony's property tax, right? This is the thing that where he lives and the thing that he lives in. But you're dealing with two people whose hatred is thousands of years deep for each other. There's no bringing them together. There's no getting along. How many times have we tried this with Hamas, the Palestinians, the Israelis? Like, there's a winner and there's a loser. They're just not going to stop. Iran is quite vocal that their existence centers around making Israel, and then by extension us, the United States, not exist. How are you going to work with that? How are you going to long-term craft some sort of agreement? You're not.
Tony Katz tweeted out last night that he said he thought this felt different. So hopefully he's correct on that. Donald Trump said, I got to get Israel to calm down. Donald Trump now has been nominated by Buddy Carter, who's a representative from Georgia, for the Nobel Peace Prize after this. He said that this ending of the 12-day war was extraordinary and historic.
But the war's not over. I mean, maybe you have a different opinion on it. Kev, you can get in on this too. If someone is still throwing rockets at each other, that would appear to be some sort of act of war. Am I wrong?
Still a dust.
I mean, if I am wrong, tell me. I'm more than happy to have this discussion. I think throwing a rocket at someone is an act of violence.
Yes, I would agree.
It's
with
an
that.
act of I don't like you, and we're not getting along.
The news, though, reported though that things have settled down since that. So it's been a few hours, and that's where we're going by.
Oh, okay.
It's a very fluid situation.
But even if it lasts, I mean, how many times have we seen this? A month, 2 months,
right?
3 months,
right?
It always ends up back the same way. Whatever accord, whatever international body gets involved. I've said this for years. Israel should just be told, you go do what you're going to do. We will support you in the sense of, Iron Dome, things of that nature. We're not going to put boots on the ground, but you go do what you got to do, and we will support you and have at it. And this will all just get over a lot quicker if they just pulverize all those places and make them parking lots, and then maybe whatever comes out of those ashes, you can work with. But it's 50 years, 60 years. How many years have we been going since 1948? There's never anything lasting that changes because it's in the DNA of these people to fight. They're born with it. You're not going to negotiate it out of them.
So Donald Trump on Friday, he announced that there was a deal between Rwanda and the Republic of the Congo. And he said he won't get a Nobel Peace Prize for that. He won't get it for stopping the war between India and Pakistan. He won't get it for stopping the war between Serbia and Kosovo. And he said he won't get it for this either.
Do you need it?
I think he does. He would like it.
Well, that's kind of
And
pathetic.
if he can get these people to come to a peace agreement, he should get it.
Well, but the whole idea of the award, the Nobel Peace Prize, look at some of the people who have gotten it. Nobody threw more bombs than Obama, and he got one. It's meaningless. It's like a Sagamore of the Wabash. They've given it to so many ridiculous people.
Dilutes the meaning of it.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
So the Nobel Peace Prize Committee has received 338 nominations for this year so far. 338.
Can you just pick anyone? Can anyone nominate?
Yeah, I
Is
guess.
this like submit online? Can we nominate Kevin McNamara for the Nobel Peace
fill
Prize?
out the form, right?
Can we put Kevin as a world traveler who has always been
Promoting peace?
Been in peaceful exchanges in his many trips abroad? Can we nominate
Whenever
Kevin?
Kevin goes to Galway, he promotes peace. Does that qualify? It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Dealing with the excessive heat. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Hot weather is going to be sticking around.
That humidity and heat indices over 100, they're going to continue for much of the week. For this weekend, we do have highs of only 89 in our forecast.
Casey Fuson with the National Weather Service says 90-degree temperatures will be frequent the rest of this week. Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton now starting the recovery process after going through surgery last night in New York for his torn Achilles tendon in his right leg, which he suffered at Game 7 of the NBA Finals. He made a heartfelt post to social media last night. A former Ben Davis assistant track coach is facing charges of child seduction. 26-year-old Harrison Goss was arrested Monday for claims that he was involved in sexual misconduct with a 16-year-old student. And all 15 of the state's public colleges and universities are agreeing to a tuition freeze for the next 2 academic years. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls?
I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
As a caring adult of a 7th or 8th grader, you may see their college plans as a distant process, but in reality, it'll be here in no time. Think about it. Your child could be heading to college by the time you pay off your next car. There's a good reason for middle schoolers and you to start planning their path to college today. This message is brought to you by the Indiana Youth Institute. Indiana's 21st Century Scholarship provides eligible students with up to 4 years of paid college tuition. So here's what you need to know. It is key that we make sure every eligible child is enrolled in the program. Requirements vary dependent upon age, and early sign-up is available for 7th grade students. For more information on the 21st Century Scholarship, visit learnmorindiana.org/scholars. This Kids Count Minute is a message from the Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids count on you.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
I am amazed at the stuff our state will spend money on, and then stuff they're like, nah. That's helping hundreds of kids every year. We're not doing that. I mean, I have no idea what Braun is actually trying to do at this point. And the story from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle is like the best example of this, because while we would all like the government to be more limited than it actually is, and I've had this argument for years with people, there is some level of government involvement necessary in order for some people to move out of the living conditions they are in, right? In an ideal world, hey, the nonprofits and the church handle everything, right? Government's out of it, and we don't have anything to do with it because we're not good at it. But that's just not, there's not enough of them. There's too many missed opportunities. And if there can be serious guardrails and accountability put forth in government programs, accountability measures put forth, and those government entities, government programs have shown a track record of success amongst the most vulnerable people, I think that should probably be the last thing we should consider cutting. However, our state, because it's so poorly run, first of all, how you blow your budget by $2.5 billion is beyond me. Every person involved with that should be fired, and all the lawmakers should be kicked out. Because that's what they did. They missed their budget by $2.5 billion. When the radio people for months are saying, hey, you're probably going to be wrong on that.
Right.
They're there, children. We've got it. And then the last week you're like, oh, crap.
Whoop.
And so what you start seeing is at the end of this session, because it's so poorly run, and most of these people, you wouldn't let them run your Little League concession stand, much less you wouldn't want them running the government. They just made a bunch of cuts at the end. They just started throwing things in a soup, and the way they balanced their budget was, and by the way, anytime these state lawmakers are like, we balanced the budget, they're required to.
Yeah.
They can't print money. The state,
congratulations.
Yeah, the state budget has to balance. So the way they did this was they just cut a bunch of things and they raised a bunch of taxes. That's how they paid for the bills this year at the end of session. The problem is when you're cutting a bunch of stuff at the end without public oversight, is the stuff that gets cut is the stuff that doesn't benefit the donors and the lobbyists and the people who write checks.
Right.
They want you to think, oh, we cut all this waste. Think about this. They cut $1 billion in a week, yet they claimed, Holcomb claimed in 2020.
They can't do that any other time.
In a public debate, in the governor's debate in 2020, Holcomb claimed he had cut state government, quote, to the bone, I believe was the quote. And yet they found $1 billion in a week at the end of session. Now, again, the problem with that is you have no idea whether it was good, bad, or indifferent because there's not the public hearings, et cetera. They're just making it up as they go along. And they're pulling money out of things that aren't going to get them in trouble with their donor and lobbyist friends. And one of the victims of this cut-a-palooza at the end of session was the JAG program. Now, for those of you who don't know, the JAG program, Jobs for America's Graduates, is the name of it. And it is a state program that works in coordination with federal monies to help usually at-risk kids and try to get them on a path to get them into the workforce so that they will have a shot, teach them skills and get them into jobs that will make it so that they are not a prolonged burden on the system.
So it was introduced to Indiana in 2006 under Mitch Daniels, and it was to combat the state's high dropout rates. And it's typically for people who are at risk, including those who are low income, first generation, or just lacking job skills.
And it's actually one of the things, and I have a very dear friend who it has been under the Department of Workforce Development. Of a very dear friend, and this is not some uber liberal person. This person is about as conservative as you can possibly get, who, if he were in any way engaged in any sort of wasteful government, would rail against it, shout about it, who has been involved with this program, worked with this program, been one of the main people with this program for many, many years. And I have heard over the years, as this person has talked about, the success stories of these kids, hundreds and hundreds of kids every year that they see that otherwise would be going towards a life of crime, poverty, wards of the state, burdens on the system, and they are able to, through this program and jobs, and that's the key, right? Teaching people skills, teaching people how to fish, right? Not handing them the fish, teaching them how to fish so that they can care for themselves, and making the small investment today, from a state perspective, about $8 million, and the amount of money that's going to save you in the long run and getting these people to be able to take care of themselves. And so what has happened is this JAG program was shifted out of the Department of Workforce Development and it went under the Department of Education, or the ability to have a JAG type program was shifted as bronze, whatever he calls that, freedom and opportunity or whatever, into the Department of Education. And the Department of Education basically said, we ain't doing this. The money's not getting allocated. If you want to have this thing, you're going to need some other place, some other funding mechanism. Well, the federal money is drying up, And then what happens is a lot of times these nonprofits who are also a part of the funding resources, they look to see is the government participating, the actual public-private partnership that we're talking about. They'll look and say, well, if the government isn't participating, we can't come up with all of this money on our own. And if the state's out and the feds are out, well, we'll just put our dollars elsewhere because we feel it will go further if someone else is where somewhere else, some other program that has massive government resources behind it. So this program essentially, by I believe July 1st,
done,
is going to go away.
It was the largest JAG network in the country, 250 sites, and it served about 10,000 students. And now it's expected to shrink lower to 30 sites. And like you mentioned, they were getting $8 million. It's now going down to zero.
45,000 kids have been a part of this program since 2006. And so my point is, we raised taxes by $1 billion. And this is where I come back to, I have no idea how we're managing our money, how we're prioritizing, what we're prioritizing. We raised taxes by $1 billion. And you're telling me in the $1 billion of new revenue that we took from people or are taking from people, we couldn't allocate $8 million of that to say, let's continue to ensure that
you don't drop out of high school, and when you do, you've got skills to get a job.
Now, look, if the governor but the problem is the governor didn't say this. If the governor came out and said, I see A, B, and C wrong with JAG, and I want to see this reform to make it more efficient, hey, I'm on board with that. If you know me, anytime you identify, hey, these things can be done better in order for the state to fund this, I want to see these things done. Okay, you're going to do them, great. We'll check in on you. You'll get the funding, and then we'll see if the accountability matches up, and then we'll decide how we go forward. But just to move it out of one government area to the other, and then the other government area goes, I ain't doing that. That doesn't, especially when there's all these success stories. I mean, Capital Chronicle raises it. And I'm sure there's many people who have participated like any government program in the program who didn't want to follow through, who didn't follow through, who didn't end up a success story. I'm not naive to that. I'm simply saying, can someone explain to me how we're prioritizing expenditures or something that 45,000 people have been touched by, young kids, over a 20-year span, and we said, that's not working for us anymore. And how those kids, and the better question is, how are those kids going to get the necessary tutelage, the necessary oversight, the necessary intervention to keep them on a path towards staying in school or staying in a career path that will make them not become a permanent ward of the state or a drain on society?
So Governor Braun said that programs like that may be reconsidered. Maybe.
Well, it sounds like he better make that decision by July 1st, which is next week.
Oh, right. There's that. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The latest on the U.S. and Iran. Plus, former Letterman writer Jeff Boggs joins us in studio, 93 WIBC.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Feeling like you've lost a step? You're not alone. After 35, most men start losing free testosterone, the hormone that helps you stay lean, strong, and energized. But now there's a game-changing solution. Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster from the #1 brand in America. Nugenix Total T2 is packed with even more man-boosting power, and it works fast. With a powerful nitric oxide booster, it sends your energy and performance levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours. That's right, just 3 hours to to start feeling like your old self again. For a limited time, you can try it for yourself absolutely free. Text now to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC. But that's not all. When you send us a text, we'll also include a free bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever. Feel stronger, leaner, more driven. Text CASH to 369-369 now. That's CASH to 369-369. Text CASH to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Downtown Indy's Fourth Fest, presented by UA Local 440 on the Indiana War Memorial Grounds, kicks off with a street party featuring live music, a kids zone, great local food, and more 6 to 10 p.m. Then fireworks with an amazing grand finale thanks to the Indiana Fever and WNBA All-Star Committee.
The street party is brought to you by Indiana Donor Network and Donate Life Indiana. One organ and tissue donor can save 8 lives and heal 75 more. Sign up at donatelifeindiana.org and talk to your family about your decision.
For more info, go to downtownindy.org.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
We see it every day online, tragedy of some sort, and our kids see it too. This message is brought to you by the Indiana Youth Institute. Now more than ever, our youth need our support, even if they don't experience an event firsthand. Talking about what is going on can help them understand and feel safe. When talking to our youth about tragedy, use gentle words, offer comfort, and encourage them to share their worries. And remember, our youth could be experiencing fear, shock, anger, anxiety, and grief. These reactions are all normal, and their age will likely affect how they handle the stress. Be patient with support as your child grieves. However, if the child continues to display strong reaction for more than 2 to 4 weeks, they might need more help coping. This Kids Count Minute is a message from the Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, go to iyy.org/kids.
Kids count on you.
My name is Jamie Bowles, and I was diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer in December of 2018. Nobody would even know looking at me that I have stage 4 lung cancer, and I'm grateful for biomarker testing for that. When I was sitting down with my oncologist, there was already state-of-the-art medication available that I was going to be put on right then and there. Ask your doctor how comprehensive biomarker testing before treatment may help you decide on the best treatment. Visit noonemissed.org to learn more.
A public service message from Longevity Foundation.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Celebrate the 4th with the whole family at Downtown Indy's Fourth Fest, presented by UA Local 440. Join us on Friday, July 4th at the Indiana War Memorial for an evening of fun, music, and fireworks for all ages. Details at WIBC.com.
Rent in central Indiana is out of control.
You think so?
I'm gonna play a little game with you and see if you can. I just saw this post on the internet.
Okay.
And I'm going to read you the description of the house.
Okay.
And see if you can guess how much it's renting for.
Price is Right rules?
Yeah. You go over, you lose.
Okay.
This is, I mean, it's people are being priced out of living. It's everywhere. And we've talked about how the government has done this to us because they made homes, they cut the money, they enhanced the money supply. They gave money away. They made money so cheap that people were paying super premium prices for their homes. Now that they've cut that off and raised the interest rates, people can't afford to upgrade because they got such a quote-unquote good deal.
Right.
The problem is people can't afford to buy the house because they can't pay the price because of the interest rate. So people are locked in their homes, which means people can't buy into homes, which means people are in the rental game and can't get out of the rental game, which means people can skyrocket the rent because you got to live somewhere.
Right. And they're certainly not saving money. They're not building up any equity with that either.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to read you. This is in Brownsburg. Okay. And I saw this post. I'm going to guess.
The good part of Brownsburg?
No. Well, it's not next to the warehouses. It's in a residential neighborhood.
Brownsburg are all good parts.
I would have guessed this home is from the 60s, maybe 50s. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. I'm going to guess max it's 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
Could be a little. I mean, again, I'm just estimating based on the pictures. The interior is fairly nice. I mean, kitchen stuff. I mean, it's decent.
Garage?
No garage. It's got a shed, but no garage that I'm. Oh, wait a second here. Let me try to zoom in on this. Maybe it does. It does have a garage. Detached garage. Garage is not attached to the house.
Okay.
Looks like. Okay. It does include the landlord will mow and maintain the lawn and landscaping. Also, your water, sewer, and trash are included.
Okay.
So you're getting
it's a little something.
So about 1,000. I would guess 1,000 square feet, detached garage. Because your water, sewer, trash, and the lawn. But I mean, it's a small lawn, but it's maintained.
Basement?
No.
Okay.
No. How much do you think that's renting for?
2 bed, 1 bath.
2 bed, 1 bath. I'm guessing at max it's 1,000 square feet. I'm going high just so I don't undershoot it.
I'm going to say, 1350.
1350. Kev, Casey's in at 1350. What say you?
I'm going to go with 1450.
Kev would be the winner, though he's $500 short. 1950 is what they're asking for this.
1950.
Now, I don't think they're going to get that for this because that seems high even by high standards today. However, the fact that that's even in a ballpark, and I know the guy that's renting it, and shame on
Nearly
him.
$2,000.
That is a small, it's a tiny home, right? I mean, like I live in a 3-bedroom house, and I'm by no means living on the South Fork Ranch. And this house is even smaller than the house that I live in. It's not nearly as nice as the house that I live in. And not that I live in some mansion or anything.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at single mothers,
right? That's
small
what I was
families.
Thinking.
How are they affording that?
Yeah.
Because you got 1, 2 kids. What are we doing? Shame on the government. Shame on all the government. Shame on all you people. Except for you, the audience. We love you. You're great.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. We'll be back here tomorrow. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The deals at Andy Moore Ford continue. We're talking about that employee pricing. Employee pricing at Andy Moore Ford across a full lineup of your favorite trucks and SUVs. That's right. You pay what they pay at Andy Moore Ford. Get $17,000 off MSRP on new 2024 F-150s or buy a new Ford Super Duty truck for under $40,000. 175 different trucks to choose from. And if you're looking to sell or trade your current vehicle, the time has never been better. Every vehicle comes with $500 in Andy Moore cash and $2,500 more for your trade. Plus, drive with no payments all summer long. Talk to Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield. Find out how easy it is to get your new car, truck, SUV, or fleet vehicle at Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield. 2713 East Main Street in Plainfield or online at Andy Moore Ford. That's MOHR.
I love Andy.
AndyMooreFord.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. We are cleaning out inventory. Save up to 50% off Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, and Flex Steel. And if it's in stock, save up to an extra 25% off. Save up to 20% off Berlin Gardens and Pollywood Outdoor Furniture. And save up to 50% off floor sample mattresses, including Tempur-Pedic. First come, first serve. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your